A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Here. Wait, nothing. I said you were nuts, crazy. And... No, don't. I'm sorry, Luke. Very sorry. But I had to have it. I'm going to have it. And once you're dead, you'll never miss it.
Midnight. The witching hour when the night is darkest. Our fears the strongest. And our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute. In The Dead Hand. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of terror and retribution by one of radio's best-known mystery writers, Robert Newman. Its title, The Dead Hand. The small studio cottage on Dr. Martin Trent's estate. Seated at the piano, alone in the gathering darkness, is Roger Blaine, the famous pianist, and playing as only he can play.
Can't you hear me, Lorna? You must hear me. You must come here now to me. I'm calling you, Lorna. Calling to you in a way you could never resist. With my music, making your heart beat fast, your breath come quicker. Lorna.
Hello, Roger. Am I disturbing you?
Always, Lorna. Just as I disturb you. As we disturbed each other since the first time we met.
Martin's out at the hospital, and I heard you playing, so...
That's not why you came, Lorna. You came because I called you. Because you promised you'd come and give me your answer.
What we talked about last night, my going away with you? Roger, I must have been mad. I don't know what got into me.
Don't you, Lorna? This is what got into me. My music. Telling you things I never could tell you in words.
Roger, stop. I can't think when you play like that. I can't believe him. He's my husband. I love him, respect him.
Can you love a surgical instrument? Can you compare what you feel towards him with what you feel now, this minute?
No, it is different. Roger, how can we? He's your friend. It was he that brought you here, gave you the cottage.
And haven't I given him anything? Music like this. Music such as no one has ever heard before.
Roger,
Lorna, listen to me. It's what I'm saying here. I love you. I need you. It was you who helped me find depths within myself I never knew existed. You've got to come away with me. You owe it to me. To yourself, to the world.
Roger,
you
please.
You know you want to. And you're going to.
Roger, no, I
can't.
I tell you,
You are.
all right.
Lorna.
We can talk to Martin when he gets home tonight. Tell him. I think he'll
No, Lorna,
understand.
there'll be no talking, no explaining. My car's outside and we're leaving right now. The music, my music, was still with me as we drove out through the gates, down the highway, pulsing, throbbing. Yes, I could hear it, but could Lorna? I glanced at her sitting there beside me. Happy, dearest?
What? I don't know, Roger.
You don't know? Don't you realize what this means, Lorna? I'm playing better than I ever played before, and this is only the beginning. After my New York concert, South America, then Europe.
Roger, are you sure you love me? Me as a person?
Well, what do you mean, Lorna?
I know you've said you do, but whenever you've talked about it, Roger, about us, you've talked in terms of your music. Roger, are you sure that's not what you love?
Well, of course I'm sure. If I didn't have my music, if I couldn't play, I don't think I could live. But
I know.
It was you. You who lifted me to heights I never dreamed of, technically, emotionally.
Roger, stop the car, turn around, take me back.
What?
Take me back.
I don't understand.
I do, for the first time. With Martin away so much, I was lonely, flattered by your attention. And your music was like a drug, keeping me from thinking. But now I can think. And I know you don't love me, and I don't love you, so please, Roger, take me back.
No.
But, Roger, can't you see this whole thing was a mistake?
It was not a mistake. And I won't take you back.
Well, I'm going back, whether you take me or not, and if you won't stop the car...
No, let go of that brake. Let go. That's it. We're done. We're ready. When I opened my eyes, I was in a bare white room in a hospital. Standing next to the bed were Lorna and Martin.
Hello, Roger. How are you feeling?
Well, I don't know. What happened?
You were out driving with Lorna. The car got out of control and you had a smash-up. They rushed you here to the hospital and, well, you've been here for 2 days.
Smash up? Yes, I remember. Are you all right, Lorna?
Yes, Roger, I was shaken up.
Oh, my hand hurts. Especially the fingers. Nothing happened to it, did it, Martin? I've got a concert in a few weeks, you know.
Roger, don't stop it.
What? Why are you looking at me like that?
Don't worry about it, Roger. Not now.
But I've got to know. I've got to...
Roger, please.
Gone. My hand. My left hand. Martin, what did you do to me?
Roger, I think you know how I feel about you, about your music. You've got to believe me when I tell you there was nothing I could do about it. Nothing. It was your hand or your life.
My life? And what is my life without my music? Nothing. Worse than a living death. Why didn't you let me die?
Don't say that, Roger. We'll do anything we can. There must be something.
Something? There's just one thing. You've got to get me another hand.
We will, Roger. There have been some wonderful developments in prosthetics
No,
as a result of the war.
I don't mean an artificial hand. I mean a real hand.
What? Roger, you're mad.
No, I'm not. You took my hand and you'll get me another one.
We'll talk about it some other time.
You think I'll forget about it, don't you? Don't you? Oh, I won't. I say I'm going to have another hand, and I will have one. And what's more, you're going to help me get it. You're here. You're going to help me. I was able to get up and around a few days later. I didn't talk to anyone if I could help it. Because somehow I couldn't ever look at their faces. Only their hands. Big hands and little ones. Long-fingered ones and stubby ones. Yes. They each had 2 hands. And I to whom my piano meant more than life, had only 1. Then, sitting alone one evening, I met Hawk. I looked up, and there he was, a small, slight, sharp-featured man.
Hello. Nice evening.
Yes, I suppose it is.
You mind if I sit down for a couple of minutes?
No.
I wouldn't usually bust in on anybody except that... Well, I'm getting out of here tomorrow, and I feel pretty good about it.
Oh? What was wrong with you?
Bad heart. I'm going to have to take it easy from now on. It's going to make it kind of tough in some ways, but... you don't happen to have a cigarette on you, do you?
Well, yes, I do have. It's, there. Well, at least I did have. Silver cigarette case. Can't see.
Is,
Fine.
this it?
What? Well, yeah. Where did you find it?
In your pocket.
You mean you took it?
My name's Harris, Joe Harris. You usually call me the Hook. This is my racket. Or rather, it was until I...
You're a pickpocket.
Well, one of the best in the business. But now with my picket going bad, I guess I'll have to lay off, except like now for a gag. You didn't mind, did you?
Mind? Well, certainly not. I'm very impressed. As a matter of fact, do you mind if I look at your hands?
Look at it? What for?
Beautiful. As beautiful a pair of hands as I've ever seen. It occurs to me that you say that you don't know what you're going to do when you leave the hospital here.
Well, I just hadn't thought about it much. Why?
I've got a proposition that might possibly interest you.
No kidding. What?
Well, I'd rather not discuss it with you here and now, but I expect to be leaving here myself on Friday. If you'd like to come and see me sometime after...
You say where and when?
Well, I've been staying at a little cottage on Dr. Martin Trent's estate. I'll probably be going back there. How about Saturday night, late, around 11:30?
Fine. Okay with me.
Then it's a date. I left him there, hurried back to my room. I wanted to be alone. Had to be alone, for I was afraid that what was on my mind might show in my face. It certainly was a date. A date with death.
A man obsessed, half mad, and his unsuspecting victim. Will both of them still be alive to hear it when the clock strikes 12 for... Murder at midnight. But now, here is Roger Blaine to continue Murder at Midnight.
I did leave the hospital on Friday, went back to the little studio cottage. By Saturday night, my arrangements were completed. They weren't very complicated. I made it clear to Lorna and Martin that I wanted to be alone, and I picked up a length of iron pipe. The pipe I hid inside the piano when I heard footsteps coming down the path. There was a knock on the door. Come in?
Hi. Not too late, am I?
No, you're not too late.
Hey, pretty nice place you got here.
Yes, it is quite nice. Sit down.
Oh, thanks. Yeah. Now, what's this here proposition you want to talk to me about?
It's a very simple one. How would you like to make $10,000?
What do I have to do?
You don't have to do anything. Just sell me something. Your left hand.
What? You're nuts.
No, I'm serious. I've got the money right here in cash.
Well, I don't get it. I just don't understand.
Look, I'm a musician. I'm a pianist. Or I was until I lost my hand. If I can't go on playing, then life doesn't mean anything to me. My own life or anyone else's. But you, how important is your hand to you? Now, an artificial one will do almost as well. And you can live for quite a while on $10,000.
You mean you really thought I'd sell you my hand? Let you cut it off? I'm getting out of here.
Look, wait.
Wait, nothing. I said you was nuts, but I didn't really think... What are you going to do with that? No, don't you, kid.
Some way. Somehow I'll get you for this. I swear.
I'm sorry, Hook. Very sorry. But I have to have it. I'd rather not go into what happened after that. I got rid of the body. Then I went to see Martin.
You don't look well, Roger. Anything the matter?
No, I just came to see you about your promise.
My promise?
Oh, your debt, whichever you choose to call it. I told you I wanted another hand, that I was going to get another hand, and that you were going to help me. Well, now you can help me.
What do you mean?
Look in here. Inspect. See?
Good Lord. Where did you get this?
It might be better if you didn't ask too many questions. I'm fighting for my life, for more than my life. You took my hand away from me. Well, now you can give me this one.
You mean you honestly, seriously think that I can perform an operation of this sort, do a graft, and that after I'm finished, you'll be able to use the hand?
Why not? Operations of this sort have been done, haven't they? With other parts of the body? The eye?
The cornea, not the eye. And some nerve grafting has been done. But this... Look, Roger, I know what a shock this whole thing has been to you. Know it better than you. You're not a well man.
A well man? I'm only half alive. And I'd rather be dead than go on living this way. But if I do die, I won't die alone. That's why I brought this along.
Roger.
Got it. Quick, easy, painless. If you won't do what I want, you die. And so does Lorna. Both of you, along with me.
You don't give me very much choice.
No.
All right. You win. Get me to the hospital.
Even before I became fully conscious, before I opened my eyes, I knew that it had been done. That it wasn't his hand anymore, but mine. Still, there was something wrong. I couldn't analyze what it was at first, but it was there. A feeling that something wasn't quite right. That perhaps it wasn't entirely my hand. I sat up. The hand was a mass of bandages, stiffened with splints. And inside the bandages...
Careful, Roger. Don't touch them.
Huh? Oh, Martin, I didn't see you.
I've been here with you ever since last night.
Last night? You mean I've been out that long? 24 hours?
It was very important that you keep quiet. You've been under sedation.
Oh, yes, of course. This isn't the hospital.
No. I brought you home with me, back to the house.
Oh.
I thought it would be best for several reasons.
Oh, that's very smart, Martin. We don't want any questions, do we? Not yet. You did do it, didn't you?
What? Yes.
I knew you would. Good. And it's going to work. It is working. I can feel it.
Please, Roger, you must be careful with that bandage. You can't touch it, move it, disturb it in any way.
I won't, Martin. But I don't have to. I tell you, I can feel the fingers moving, even inside this. And in another week or so...
We'll see.
Yes, we'll see. Got a cigarette, Martin?
Of course, I have it right. That's funny.
What is?
My cigarette case. It was right here in my breast pocket. I must have left it downstairs at the hospital.
It doesn't matter. I can do it. Martin.
Yes?
I think... Here, that... This here. Here it is. Under my pillow.
What? How did it get there?
I don't know. It must have fallen out when you bent over. But... No.
Why are you looking like that?
Because... I think I know how it did get under my pillow.
What do you mean?
When fingers learn something, special skill, they don't forget it, ever. Mine never have. Even when I'm not thinking of what I'm doing, they go on playing by themselves. These fingers here, they haven't forgotten either. You understand?
I'm afraid
Forget it. I'm all awfully tired all of a sudden, Martin. Would you mind?
No, Roger. I'd like you to get as much rest as possible. There's a friend of mine coming here tomorrow to see you. The doctor.
That's fine, Martin. I'll see you in the morning. Yes, I was tired, but that wasn't why I asked Martin to go. It was because I wanted to be alone, because I had to be alone. Because I knew now what it was that I'd only sensed before. The hand, Hook's hand, had a will of its own. It had picked Martin's pocket without my even being aware of it. I lay there alone in the darkness after Martin went, not touching the bandages, but flexing the fingers, forcing them to obey my will. I had to do that. I knew I had to do it, because I suspected what might happen. And what did happen proved that I was right. I fell asleep finally. And while I was asleep, I dreamed. I dreamed I was walking down a dark, labyrinthine corridor somewhere under the earth. Then...
A little closer, Roger.
Huh?
Just a little closer.
Who's that? Who's there?
Just me. Waiting for you.
Hook!
Yeah, Hook. I said I'd get you. Well,
out of the darkness came a hand that clutched me by the throat, gripped it tighter, tighter, tighter. I fought against it, tried to scream, and woke up. Yes, I woke up, and my waking was more horrible than the dream, for the hand was there, gripping me by the throat, moaning, exerting every ounce of my strength and will. I fought it off and pulled it down. I lay there, bathed in a cold sweat, staring at it, feeling the fingers quivering inside the bandages. My hand or his, I was tied to it now. Tied to a thing that was seeking to destroy me. Shaking convulsively, I leaped out of bed. I ran out into the hall and down the stairs to the living room. The piano. It was the one thing that might save me, save my reason. Seating myself at the piano, I started to play, using only my right hand at first. But I tried to force my left hand, his hand, to join in. Then suddenly...
No, Roger. That won't work. No music.
Stop it. Do you hear it? It's my hand now. It's mine.
No, Roger. Never.
But it is. I'm stronger than you are.
Nothing is stronger than I am. Nothing in the world. And there's no escape. Because we're one now, Roger. And wherever you go, I'll be there too.
It's not true. It's not. What are you doing?
Just a little closer to the desk, Roger. A little closer. That paper knife.
Damn.
But I can't, Roger. I told you I'd get you somehow. Some way.
Put it down.
Drop you. Can't fight against me, Roger. I told you. I'm too strong.
Martin! Water! Quick! Let us see! The hand!
Where is he, Martin?
The living room. I heard the piano and... Good Lord. He's dead.
Why? How? He was saying something about a hand.
He was in a completely psychotic state as a result of shock and a sense of guilt. The state psychiatrist was coming tomorrow to commit him.
Oh, Martin.
That hand he brought me wanted me to graft on. I don't know where he got it, but I suspect that was behind the whole thing.
Behind it?
Yes.
Well, what do you mean?
You don't really think I did graft it on, do you?
Why?
He was desperate, and I had to do something to quiet him. I splinted his left wrist, wrapped it in bandages, and told him not to touch them.
But, Martin, that paper knife in his chest.
Which hand is holding it?
His right one, his good one.
Yes. And still, in a way, it's possible that the dead hand, the one he was so concerned about, did guide it.
Her eyes wide with awful comprehension, Lorna stares at her husband, then down at Roger Blaine's body as, somewhere in the silent house, a clock starts chiming for murder at midnight. Remember to be with us again when death stretches out his bony hand and the clocks strike 12 for Murder at Midnight. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight is directed by Anton M. Leader.
This is the place for it. Deep down under the city, under the earth. The concrete cold and damp as the stone of a mausoleum. The question is, which one of them shall it be? You, sir? You with the gray hair and the briefcase. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Death.
Midnight. The witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The Man Who Was Death. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of Mystery and Terror by Masters of the Macabre. Our story by Robert Newman is The Man Who Was Death. It's late afternoon in the studio of Jan Rolfe, the sculptor. The rays of the setting sun come through the smoke-filmed glass of the skylight at an angle, casting long, dark shadows on the dusty floor. His face intense, Rolfe stands before a more than life-size head of gray granite, cutting away some of the hard stone, then pausing to examine his work.
It's still not right. I still haven't got it. And I don't know where I've gone wrong. The eyes, they would be brooding and half-closed. But shouldn't they be all-seeing? Let's try it. Who's that? Who's there?
It's Aline, Mr. All. Aline Moffat.
Aline? Oh, yes. Just a second. What is it, Aline?
I told you I wouldn't be able to get here until late, Mr. Rolfe, that I was going to be modeling for Clayton in the early afternoon, but you said it didn't matter.
Oh, yes, I forgot.
If you don't need me, don't feel like working.
No, it's all right. Maybe it would help if I worked on something else for a change. Come on in.
Something else? Oh, that head.
Is that the first time you've seen it?
Yes. You always kept it covered up before. It looks very powerful.
Powerful, eh? Go on over to it, closer. Tell me who you think it is.
All right. Well, it's a man. Pretty big man.
A man. I knew it wasn't right. But if that's all you get out of it... Where's that mallet?
Mr. Roth, what are you going to do?
Yes, I'm going to smash it! Almost 6 months' work, but... There! You know what that was supposed to be? Death! Yes. The century's man has been haunted and obsessed by the fear of death. I was going to do something no artist has ever done before. Show mankind the face of death.
Mr. Rolfe, I don't think I feel like modeling this afternoon.
You're frightened. Why?
I don't know. The whole idea of...
You too. What I wanted to show was the beauty, the peace that lies in death. Death's strength and inevitability and... Wait a minute.
I'll phone you tomorrow, Mr. Rolfe.
I said wait. It's beginning to come to me. What was wrong? To do a study, portray something, you've got to understand it, inside and out. You've got to know how your subject thinks, feels, project yourself into it. To do a study of death, I've got to know all those things about him. I've got to become death, and that means...
Mr. Rolfe, no, you can't!
But I can, Aline, I must. How can I understand death, become death, if I don't kill?
Miss Craig?
Yes, Nancy Craig.
I'm Jordan, Harold Jordan of Homicide. I imagine you know why I asked you to come down here to the morgue.
They said it had something to do with my roommate, Aline Moffat. Is she...
If you think you can take it, we'd like you to make the identification.
I think I can.
Ah, good girl. She's right here under the sheet. Ready?
Yes. Oh, Aline. How did it happen?
I'll cover her up. Well, we traced the laundry mark. We're pretty sure we knew who she was.
How did it happen?
She was found in the river. But she was dead before she went in, strangled.
Murdered? Oh, but why? By whom?
Well, we don't know. We thought you might help us with that, too. Tell us what you know about it.
There's not much to tell. She was a wonderful girl. Came from out of town, out west somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
You wouldn't know it from the way she looks now, but she was beautiful. She used to do modeling.
Any boyfriends?
Oh, no one in particular. She went out with a lot of different men. Everyone liked her. It's why I can't understand.
Who does she model for?
A few photographers, but mostly painters and sculptors. Let me see, there was Jensen, Clayton, Rolfe. As a matter of fact, I think she was posing for both Clayton and Rolfe.
Better this time, much better. Things I can put into it that I never knew. Never felt before. Now, let's see. No! Still not right. Still something missing, and not just a shade of expression, but something basic, one of the keys to the whole concept. But what? Haven't I played Death's role, killed just as he does? Haven't I... Wait, that's it. Of course. Is that how death strikes? Without thought, on the spur of the moment? No. He picks and chooses. Decides just who shall die and who shall not. What's missing is the consciousness of power. The knowledge that there is no appeal from death. That he is the supreme authority. And that means that... Yes, I must kill again. And this time... Who's that?
Police department. Can we come in and talk to you for a minute?
Why, yes, of course. Just a second. Police. They don't know anything. They can't know. But I'd better cover this up.
Mr. Rolfe?
Yes.
I'm Jordan of Homicide. This is Nancy Craig. Sorry to bother you at this time of night.
No bother at all. Please come in.
Thank you.
I'm investigating the murder of Miss Craig's roommate, Eileen Moffat.
Murder?
You didn't know?
Why, no. I never read the papers. And the last time I saw her, 2 or 3 days ago.
Well, it happened just 2 days ago. Now, we've been checking back. We have an idea that you may have been one of the last people to see her alive.
If there's anything I can do to help, anything at all.
Could you tell us what happened when you did see her last?
Of course. She was due here at 3 o'clock, but actually came at about 5.
Mm-hmm.
She said another artist had delayed her.
Clayton, that's right.
I had already started working on something else, and since she looked so tired, I suggested we call the whole thing off. She seemed pretty happy about it. Left, and I'm afraid that's all I know.
Was there anyone else here? Anyone that actually saw her leave?
I'm afraid not. You see, I'm the only tenant in the building who lives here, and I'm afraid everyone else had gone by then.
Well, that sounds pretty straight to me. I guess that's that. Thanks very much, Mr. Rolfe.
Not at all. Afraid I haven't been much help. But if you can think of anything I can do...
We'll keep in touch with you. And in the meantime, well, maybe you should start reading the papers, just every once in a while, huh?
Right. I hope you read them too, my friend. Especially tomorrow's papers. Because I have a feeling that there just might be something in them that will interest you. Night. And a fine small rain. Yes, this is how he would move. Walking slowly through the darkness. Searching. Weighing. Selecting his victim.
I beg your pardon,
what?
Sir. But could you tell me if that's the uptown subway over there?
Why, yes. I believe it is.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Not at all. Subway. What better place to make my choice than there? Deep under the earth. The concrete cold and damp as the stone of a mausoleum. Thank you, my friend. Thank you. Yes, this is it. This is the place. The tunnel dark as a yawning grave. The platform edge like the verge of infinity. And this is how he must feel. Studying. Selecting. Which one of you shall it be? You, madam, with the worn coat and the draggled hat. Why are you looking at me like that? Do you know what's in my mind? Don't be afraid. It won't be you. You, young man, with the books and the glasses. No. Then what about... Yes. Down there at the end of the platform, my friend who suggested this. My prosperous-looking friend with the gray hair and the briefcase. Don't look up at the track so impatiently. A train is coming. But so am I. Good evening.
I beg your pardon, sir, but I'm afraid... Oh, I didn't recognize you at first. Why, you're the chap...
I directed you down here, yes. But I felt that you should know exactly who it was you spoke to. Allow me to introduce myself. I am dead.
What? What do you mean? What are you doing to me? Let go! Let go!
Quietly, the man who is death steps back from the edge of the platform as the train grinds to a stop. The woman screams. And somewhere in the distance, a clock strikes 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
And now back to the story of The Man Who Was Death. It's late the next afternoon. and Jordan is alone in his bare cubbyhole in police headquarters when there is a knock on the door.
Come.
Hello, Mr. Jordan.
Oh, hello, Nancy.
You don't seem very happy to see me.
I am and I'm not. It's a nice change to have someone as pretty as you come down here. On the other hand...
You haven't gotten anywhere with Aline's murder.
Nah, no motive, no clue, no nothing. I'm afraid we're licked.
But you can't be. You can't give up.
I'm sorry, Nancy. I don't like it either, but, well, it happens sometimes.
But you can't let it happen. Not in this case.
Hey, you're pretty well wound up, aren't you? How about letting me take you out, buy you dinner?
No. I am upset, yes, but...
What's the matter?
Oh, maybe it's nerves. That trip down to the morgue, the whole atmosphere around the case, but... Would you think I was mad if I told you I felt that some horrible power was abroad? That Death himself was stalking through the city?
You and Mrs. Dolan.
Mrs. Dolan? Who's she?
Well, that accident in the subway last night, a guy who fell or jumped in front of a train. Didn't you read about it?
No.
Well, this Mrs. Dolan was one of the witnesses, and she swears that just before it happened, she went all goose pimples, felt as if death was breathing down the back of her neck, and that she was going to die.
It's true, Hal. I know it is. I mean, well, that's exactly how I felt. I can't remember just where or when, but sometime during these past few days, I felt that I was in the same room with Death myself.
Well, like you said, it's probably nerves, strain you've been under. Just the same, it's kind of a funny coincidence. I think maybe I'll go see Mrs. Dolan, talk to her. Do you want to come?
I don't believe so, Hal. Somehow I feel we're awfully close to the answer. If I could just remember where and when it was I felt that way, that I was in Death's presence. I think I'll go home.
Okay, Nancy. I'll call you there after I talk to Mrs. Dolan, and, well, maybe we'll find that we really had something.
Just a little more off the cheekbones. Get the gaunt feeling of a skull under the flesh. No, it's still not right. Still something missing. But what is it this time? Didn't I stalk and select my victim? Didn't he recognize me for what I was? Death himself. And didn't... Wait. Of course. It's never just the victim alone who knows, fears, and fights against death. It's all of society, medicine, science, the police. All of man's resources from time immemorial lined up against death. And he still triumphs over them. That is the secret and the measure of his omnipotence. That is the last missing element. And that means that I must kill yet again. And this time, not just the victim, but the whole world must know it and be powerless to stop me. This time. Who's that? Who's there?
Nancy Craig, Mr. Ross. I don't know if you remember me.
Nancy? Oh, yes, just a second.
I'm awfully sorry to be bothering you again.
That's perfectly all right. Isn't Mr. Jordan with you?
No, I came alone. Well, there was a little experiment I wanted to try.
Oh, please come in.
Thank you.
Just what was this experiment?
Well, it was probably pretty silly, but I had to try it. Thinking back, I had a queer feeling that... What's that?
A bust. Something I'm working on. Something I hope will be my masterpiece. Do you like it?
I'm afraid No. Oh, it's awful. It's terrible. It was here that I felt it. Here in the studio, and you...
Yes, Nancy. It was I who killed Aline Moffat, and also a gray-haired gentleman with a briefcase in the subway last night.
That piece in the paper, Mrs. Dolan.
Exactly. You see, that bust over there is a study of death. And to do a study, you must project yourself inside your subject. That meant I had to become death. Where are you going?
Out of here, you're mad.
No good, Nancy, no good. I locked the door when you came in.
Oh, but you can't. Well, you can't. Help! Help me! Help!
No good either. We're 5 stories up, and all the other tenants have gone. You came here at a very opportune time for me. I had just decided I needed one final victim. And I'm afraid that's going to be you.
I'll never forget it, Mr. Jordan. It was pretty late, about 12 o'clock, and it was raining. There were only a couple of people on the subway platform, 3 or 4, and I was standing by myself, not thinking about anything in particular, when suddenly this feeling came over me.
What kind of a feeling?
Oh, a feeling that this was the end. A feeling that death was standing there, right close behind me. I got so weak and shaky that I thought I was going to faint. I shut my eyes and leaned against one of the posts, and that's how it was that I didn't actually see the accident.
Mm-hmm. Well, did you turn around when you had that funny feeling? Did you notice whether there actually was anyone standing behind you?
I did. There was just a young fellow with glasses and another man, kind of strange looking, now that I think of it.
Strange? How?
He was about 35 or 40, pretty big. I guess it was his hair. He wasn't wearing any hat, and, well, he was almost white and very long and bushy.
What? Did he have a thin face, gaunt, and deep-set eyes?
Why, yes, I think he did have. Do you know him?
I'm not sure. If I do, then I may know a lot of other things, too. Good Lord. Nancy.
What?
I've got to get out of here.
Just a second, young fellow. Where do you think you're going?
In there. No one's going to... Hanrahan.
Oh, there you are, Jordan. Where the blazes have you been?
What do you mean? What's going on?
A devil of a business. A lunatic in the top-floor studio there. He phoned headquarters, asked for you, said that he had a girl there that he was going to murder. Said that he wanted us to know, even though there was nothing we could do to stop him. We thought it was a gag at first.
Well, what are you doing about it?
Everything that can be done. I've got men all around the building. Up in the roof across the street, outside his door.
Can't you break down the door?
Sure, and finish her off quick. He said that if we tried it, he'd bash her brains out with that big hammer that he's working with.
But there must be something, a Tommy gun from the roof across the street.
He's got her right in front of him, so that if you got him, you'd get her too. I tell you, there's nothing, absolutely nothing anyone can do.
You're wrong, Hanrahan. There's just one person, one thing that can stop him.
What's that?
Death.
Oh.
You getting impatient, my dear?
Oh, why are you doing this? You know you can't get away with it.
Get away with it. You think I care? That it matters to me whether I live or die when I finish this? I'll never be able to surpass this, but neither will anyone else. I know now how death must feel. And I've cut it forever, for all men to see in stone.
Yes, friend Rolf. You have. And you've made me very proud.
What? Who's that?
You don't know? Even though I've been on your mind for months now? Even though you're just finishing my portrait?
You? Where are you?
Where would I be? Everywhere. Outside in the hall. Down in the street. Here in the studio with you.
Can you be seen? I must see you. I must.
Very well. Walk this way. Over towards the door. A little further. Little further.
All right, here I am, Rolf. Maybe I don't look the way you thought I would.
Jordan.
Yes. Now drop that mallet and get your hands up.
It was you. And I thought...
Get him up, Rolf, I said.
Okay,
if that's the way you want it.
Help!
It's okay, baby. It's all over now. Have you loose in a minute?
Jordan, are you all right?
Yes, break the door down if you want to come in. I'm busy.
Oh, you got him. But how?
I talked to him through the vent pipe from up on the roof. I figured that if he was crazy enough to do all the things he did do, he might be crazy enough to believe death could pay him a visit. When I'd maneuvered him far enough away from Nancy here, I jumped through the skylight.
Hal, look.
Good Lord.
What is it?
That bust he was working on. He said it was a study of death. And in a way, I guess it is. Because it's a self-portrait.
Two men and a girl, staring down at the body of the dead sculptor, lying next to his weird masterpiece. But is it possible that there is still someone else in the studio? An unseen presence that has been there since the clock first struck 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death walks through the darkened streets while the clocks strike 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
The part of Jan Rolfe was played by Frank Behrens. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader. Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The Secret of Xr3. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's Masters of the Macabre. Our story by Max Ehrlich is The Secret of Xr3. The death house. A man sits in a tiny cell, his head bowed, waiting for the moment when he will pass from light to eternal shadow. The clock ticks on, but the time is not quite yet. Then footsteps sound in the corridor. The door opens. It's almost time, my son.
Yes, Father. I know.
Is there anything I can do?
No. Still, I'm glad you've come. Father, look at me. Look at me closely.
Yes?
I frighten you, don't I? I terrify you.
No. No, my son. Nothing frightens me except the evil in men's hearts.
And am I evil?
I don't know, my son.
Oh, Father, just sit down. Let me tell you my story, and then when I've finished, perhaps you can tell me. They call me Gorgo. All my life I've been a little man, only 3 feet high. Perfectly normal in every way, you see, except for my height. Perhaps you saw me down at the Century Theater not so long ago, the vaudeville team of Petrov and Gorgo, acrobats supreme. Petrov was a huge, ape-like man who tossed me through the air like a rubber ball. The audience liked the act. The contrast between the big Petrov and the little Gorgo intrigued and amused them. And on the stage, I laughed and smiled and went through my tricks like a happy little fellow. But in the dressing room, it was different.
I did not like your performance tonight, Gorgo.
But what was wrong with it, Petrov?
You were slow. You landed too heavily. You did not smile enough.
But they liked us, Petrov. You heard them. We got 3 curtain calls.
We should have gotten 5.
Petrov, I did my best, my very best, believe me.
Your best was not good enough, little one. Perhaps you will do better tomorrow if I lock you in your room tonight without supper.
That was Vladimir Petrov, a gorilla of a man and master of my body and soul. How I hated him. How many times I wept in the silence of my room. All my life I had walked in the shadows of bigger people. See, all my life I had looked up instead of straight ahead, endured the stares of the curious and sensed the pity that was in their hearts. And that was why I used to wait in the alley near the stage door between performances, because it was dark there. I loved the dark. It protected me and hid me from those who stared and mocked. One night...
I beg your pardon, you were Gorgo?
Yes?
My name is Dr. Mead. I saw your performance earlier tonight. I was just coming in to see you.
Yes? What about?
Oh, I happen to be an expert in glandular work, particularly in the function of the pituitary or growth gland. I think the results of my recent experiments will interest you.
I don't understand, Dr. Mead.
Did you ever hear of Xr3?
Xr3? No.
Well, it's an extract, synthetic, I discovered about 2 years ago. In my experiments to date, whenever I injected it into stunted or dwarfed animals, they grew.
They grew?
Yes.
You mean to normal size?
Well, by using controlled doses, yes.
You mean if you could do this with animals, then you could...
I don't know, Gorgo. I think the time has come to try. Except for your size, you were perfectly formed. Just what I've been looking for. I came to ask you if you'd volunteer.
Yes.
You understand, I can't guarantee a thing.
I understand, and that doesn't matter. Dr. Mead, you don't know what it means, even the chance. A chance to grow to normal size.
One thing, though, I must have your written permission.
My permission? Yes, Dr. Mead. I'll give it to you gladly. I'll do anything.
You speak a little hastily, do you not, Gorgo?
Petrov.
Yes, little one. I'm sorry, Dr. Mead. I'm afraid you will have to find someone else for your experiments.
Someone else?
My little friend cannot act as your guinea pig without my consent. You see, I am Gorgo's legal guardian, and I have the papers to prove it.
No, Petrov, no, you've got to give me this chance.
Silence, little fool. As I said, I'm sorry, Doctor,
but my dear sir, if I can make Gorgo grow to normal size...
If you did, what would become of our act? It would be worthless. The people come to see Big Petrov and Little Gorgo.
Do you mean to say, Mr. Petrov, that you would let your vaudeville act stand in the way?
Yes. I spent years building the team of Petrov and Gorgo. Do you think I am going to let you ruin my investment now?
Petrov, please let him do it. You've got to.
Shut up, you little fool, and get inside.
Petrov!
As for you, Doctor, I wouldn't advise you to come around here again.
This was a blow I could not stand. Dr. Meade had opened a prison door for me, and Petrov had slammed it shut again. I resolved then that come what may, I would have my chance. The very idea of the XR3, of becoming a man like other men, made me drunk and gave me daring. One morning, while Petrov was away, I paid a visit to Dr. Meade at his office and begged him to try the experiment, without Petrov's permission.
I'm sorry, Gorgo, but I cannot. The experiment would be very delicate if anything should happen without your guardian's legal permission.
No, I'll run the risk, Dr. Meade. I'll be glad to.
I'm sorry, but it can't be done.
I see. Dr. Meade.
Yes.
Just what does this XR3 look like?
Well, I made it up in capsule form. Here, I've a whole bottle of the capsules in my desk drawer. As you see, they're green in color.
So those are the magic capsules. Thank you for letting me see them, Doctor. Thank you very much. Late that night, I slipped out of my hotel room and down the fire escape. Keeping in the shadows, I went to Dr. Meade's office and climbed through the grilled bars in the window. It was easy for a man of my size, and when I left, I had the bottle of XR3 capsules in my pocket. Well, that was Saturday night. I took one capsule, and then another. They made me ill, lightheaded. Then I fell into a deep sleep, and then a knock on the door wakened me. Who is it?
Petrov, why are you sleeping so late?
I don't feel well.
My little one does not feel well. That's a pity.
Please, Petrov, I want to sleep.
Very well. Today is Sunday and there is no performance. But tomorrow, my little Gorgo, you had better be in the best of health, understand? Otherwise, I'll see that you really become sick.
After he left, I fell into the deep sleep again. And then something woke me. My muscles ached as though I had been stretched on a rack. It was daylight again. It was Monday. My pajamas seemed uncomfortably tight, and I looked down, and the sleeves only reached my elbows. I stared, and my heart stopped beating. Then I remembered the XR3. Like a drunken man, I staggered over to the mirror, looked. Yes, I had grown. My pajamas were stretched to bursting. I was growing. I was at least 5 feet tall. 5 feet tall! It was almost time for the performance now. Petrov would be coming for me any minute. And I didn't want him to see me. Not yet. So I piled furniture against the door. And waited.
All right, Gorgo. Time to go to the theater.
I can't go, Petrov. Not tonight. I'm still sick.
What? You little swine, do you think I'm going to postpone the performance because you're sick? Open the door.
No. Petrov, no. Don't come in. Don't come in.
You little fool. I'll break every bone in your body.
I had the key, and I heard it turning in the lock. The furniture against the door would only hold for a minute, and I ran to my valise, took out a straight razor, and then, like a frightened animal, I waited.
Keep the door open, you. I'm sure you want to close the door. Now, my little...
Gorgo. In the name of heaven, what...
Yes, Petrov. I got it. I stole the XR3, and I took it. Now, you see...
You idiot. Do you realize what you've done? You've ruined the act. You've ruined it, do you hear?
Yes, but I'm a man now. I'm a man, not a dwarf. They won't stare at me now. They won't...
No? That's what you think. If that doctor could make you grow, he can make you small again. Smaller than ever.
No, Petrov, no!
Yes, Gorgo. You've grown, but not so much that I can't handle you. We're going to see him right now.
Petrov, no! Let me alone. For heaven's sake!
From you! Razor! No! Don't!
I told you to leave me alone.
told you. And now it's all over. We've played our last performance together, Petrov.
A doomed man, sitting in the death house, pauses in his story, recalling the first time the clock struck 12 for
murder at midnight.
And now here is Gorgo again, continuing his story to the priest in the death house.
I stayed in my hotel room another day and took 2 more XR3 capsules. And when I looked into the mirror that night, I was over 6 feet tall. That was enough. That was all I wanted. Now I would leave the hotel. They'd never know who killed Petrov. They'd be looking for Gorgo, a 3-foot midget. Never suspect me. Yes, I was in the clear. I stripped Petrov, put on his clothes. They were a little tight, but they did well enough. Then I went through the lobby and into the night. The mere experience of walking was exciting, exhilarating, as though I were walking on a high fence. And nobody looked at me twice. The staring eyes were gone. I was normal. First, I had to find a place to live. I passed by a boarding house with a sign, room to let. I rang the bell.
Yeah, what is it? Oh, hello.
Hello. My name is Baker, John Baker. I saw your sign about a room.
Yeah. Well, would you like to see it, big boy?
If you don't mind.
I don't mind a bit. Come in. Come in. It's a lovely room. We got a nice class of people. I'm sure you'll like it.
I'm sure I will. But first, Miss...
Devlin. Rhoda Devlin.
Yeah. Miss Devlin, I just wanted to say I've been living in hotels all my life, and I can't give you any references.
Forget it. My mother owns the place, and, well, we're not exactly formal. Besides, you look good to me.
I do?
Yeah. I always did go for big men.
Big?
Yeah.
Oh. And I've always liked pretty girls. This was a dream come true. I was a normal man, and a normal little girl was attracted to me. She was blonde and blue-eyed, and her head came up to my shoulder. A week passed. A week that was beyond my wildest dreams. I took Rhoda out, and we went everywhere. I fell in love with her. Madly in love. She was so small, so delicate. I wanted to protect her always. She had opened up a new and magic world to me, a world of light and love and laughter. And then, one night it happened. I was taking Rhoda home from the movies, and we were passing a billiard parlor, and there were several idlers in front of the place. They began saying things.
Hey, look at the giant. Yeah. How's the weather up there, big boy? Hey, Charlie, what do you got there, feisty?
You wait here, Rhoda. I'll shut them out for them. All right. I crack the skull of the next man who opens his mouth.
Please, Johnny, don't bother with them.
Yeah, but they're saying...
I know, but don't mind them. Let's keep walking.
No, I won't.
Please.
Yeah. All right.
Well, what do you know? The big baboon trying to throw his weight around.
I wanted to smash their jeering faces, knock them down. But Rhoda and I walked on to her mother's boarding house, and she was strangely silent as we entered the dimly lit foyer. She hadn't said a single word since we had passed that billiard parlor.
I was vaguely disturbed. I took her in my arms, but she pushed me away.
Oh, no, please don't.
What's the matter, baby? Is it what those men at the billiard parlor said?
I don't know. It seems to me you're growing bigger. Right before my eyes.
Growing bigger?
Yeah, I thought at first I was seeing things, but now I know it's true. I know it's crazy. It's crazy, but when we first met, the top of my head reached your shoulders. And now...
Yeah? What about now?
Now it doesn't reach your shoulders anymore. You've grown bigger.
Oh, Rosa, you don't know what you're saying. This is your imagination.
No, it's true. We better not see each other anymore. I'm afraid of you, John. You're too big now. Good night.
No, Rhoda, listen.
Don't
no, Rhoda, please.
Follow my arm.
No, not until you hear what I have to say. Rhoda, I love you. Do you hear? I love you, and I'm not going to let you just toss me aside.
No, stop that screaming. You want to waste the horse. Speed up. Stop it. Stop it. Stop that screaming. Stop, I say.
You're hurting me. Breathe.
Rhoda. No. Her lifeless body sagged in my arms. I'd forgotten my own strength. And in my fury, I'd strangled her. Like a man in a dream, I lowered her body gently to the floor and then turned to look at my reflection in the full-length mirror in the foyer. Yes, it was true. The pitiless mirror reflected a giant. I'd grown at least 6 inches. The XR3 had continued its work, was making me grow even now. Now I was a freak again. They stared at me again and pitied me. The beautiful, normal world I had so briefly enjoyed came crashing down over my ears. I ran out of the house like a wild man and into the street. Dr. Reed. Yes, I had to see him. At once, I ran to his office, avoiding the well-lit streets, and the light was on. And I prayed that he was in. I knocked on the door.
Yes, what? Good Lord.
Hello, Dr. Meade. You remember me?
Why, no, I can't say that I do.
Look up into my face, Doctor. The features are the same you looked down upon not so long ago.
Gogo, the midget.
No, Dr. Meade. It's Gogo the giant now.
So it was you who stole the bottle of XR3 capsules from my desk.
Yes.
And this is the result. This and Petrov's murder.
He deserved to die.
It does not alter the fact that it still was murder.
Dr. Meade! I'm not here to argue law with you. I want you to save me. You've got to stop this growing process.
But how? What can I do?
An antidote. You must have an antidote.
I'm sorry, but I haven't. There just isn't any.
What? No antidote?
Oh, you're lying. I assure you I'm telling the truth, Gogo. I was interested in making things grow, not making them smaller.
Yeah. Then I'm lost. There's no way out.
I'm sorry.
All my life I was a little man. I wanted to know what it was like to be a big man. Now I am big. Too big. Isn't that amusing, Doctor? Too little and then too big. Like the swing of a pendulum. I wish I were little again. As I knew what to expect, and I was used to that. Now they'll stare at me again. They'll laugh and jeer at me. Gogo the giant.
Gorgo the Giant! I think we'd better call the police, Gorgo.
Well, Father, that's my story. See, that's why I'm here in the death house. Now, tell me, am I evil?
No, my son. You have been unfortunate, but not evil. You have sinned, yes. But you have been sinned against, too. They're coming for you, Gorgo.
I hear. And I'm glad.
Glad?
Yes, glad. I don't mind dying now. This world, Father, what has it ever meant to me? But there, in the next world, there no man will be strange, and all will be equal. And perhaps there I will find peace.
With firm and measured tread, the man who was first too small and then too big walks down the corridor. And the iron doors along the way rattle and clang like the chiming of the clock when it first struck 12 for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death walks through the darkness with giant strides and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Gorgo was played by Carl Swenson. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
That gun won't do you any good. Besides, you're pointing it the wrong way.
I'm pointing it right between your eyes.
That's what I mean.
Midnight. The witching hour when the night is darkest. Our fears the strongest. And our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight. When the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Wherever I Go.
midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by Masters of the Macabre. Our story, A Study in Crime and Retribution, is by William Morwood. Its title, Wherever I Go.
The music room of an old country mansion. Seated at the piano, playing with the skill of an accomplished musician, is Gordon Ormsby. Engrossed in what he is doing, he is not aware his wife, Ellen, has come in until...
For goodness sakes, Gordon, when are you going to stop that pounding?
What? Well, I thought you enjoyed music, my dear.
I do when it's well played. Oh, don't be childish. You might have a little consideration for my headache.
You and your headaches. There's nothing whatever wrong with you. The doctors have as good as told you that. It's all in your mind. The affectation of a silly rich woman.
Lucky for you I am rich. Or where would you be now?
Someplace where I'd amount to something. I had talents when I married you, Ellen. I could have been a great musician or a great painter or a writer.
You were what you are now, what you always will be. A dilettante, a dabbler.
It's your money that ruined me, softened me up, robbed me of my ambition.
If you hate my money so much, there's nothing to prevent you walking out on it.
I will. Someday.
Not if I know you. You'll stick around as long as I have a penny left. Oh, my head.
Oh, you poor, poor darling.
Oh, I don't expect sympathy from you, but... Oh, when I feel like this, I could kill myself.
That would be too much to hope for.
Wouldn't it be nice for you, Gordon? Little me out of the way, and all my wicked money to spend exactly as you pleased. But don't worry. I'll live to a ripe old age, just to spite you.
I'd never thought of it before. Her dying. Never. But after that, I couldn't get it out of my head. There was so much I could do with her money. I could go abroad, study. But first, I had to get rid of her. It was dangerous even to think about, but I conceived a plan and developed it carefully, slowly, step by step. Ellen, we've got rats in the cellar. I saw signs of them today.
How awful. We must do something about it.
Ellen, have you done anything about those rats?
I ordered some stuff from the drugstore.
Well, there's only one thing that's any good, and you'll have to get a prescription for that. Arsenic. Let's eat home on Thursday, Ellen.
Oh, but it's a servants' night out, and we always go to a restaurant.
I know, but I want to try my hand at cooking up something.
Well, it's sure to be poison, but... All right.
We ate dinner at home on Thursday, the two of us alone together. Afterwards, Ellen complained of a headache and went up to her room. I followed a little later.
This is a surprise.
I brought you a cup of cocoa, my dear, to help put you to sleep.
That's suspiciously thoughtful of you, Gordon.
I'm afraid it's still too hot to drink. I'll put it down here.
What have you done to your hand?
What?
It's all bandaged up.
Oh, I scalded it in the kitchen. It's a nuisance, too. I wanted to write tonight.
What are you working on now, Shakespeare? Your memoirs?
No, dear. I don't expect to die for a while yet. No, it's a story about a girl suffering from an incurable disease who commits suicide.
Sounds morbid to me.
Oh, but it's not. I'm making it very tender and beautiful. As a matter of fact, I did mean to write the death scene tonight. With this hand, I'm... Say, Ellen, would you help me out?
How?
Well, I've got the girl's suicide note all set in my mind. I can't write with this. Would you write it down while I dictate it?
Oh, do it yourself tomorrow.
Oh, please. It'll only take a minute. Please.
Oh, all right. Where's some paper?
Here.
But that's my very best stationery. I hate to waste it.
It won't be wasted. Ready?
Yes.
Here goes. It's, I can't stand the pain any longer. Nobody knows how much I've suffered. Death will be peaceful compared to this.
Wait a minute.
What? What's wrong?
You're going too fast.
Oh.
Death will be... What?
Peaceful compared to this. Forgive me for what I'm doing, but this is the only way out.
Signed,
Yes?
Ellen.
What?
I named her that, dear, because she reminded me of you, so noble in her suffering. I thought you'd be pleased.
Well, I'm not. You'll have to think of some other name.
All right. Jane.
Jane?
You remember Jane Turner, the girl I was going with when I met you? I don't think she'd mind.
But I would. There. It's signed Ellen.
Thank you, my dear. You don't know how much this means to me.
Oh, my head's splitting.
Oh, I'm sorry. Cocoa? Drink it. That should end your headache. Drink it, Ellen.
Tastes queer.
Well, I couldn't find the sugar, so I sweetened it with maple syrup.
Well, I don't suppose it'll kill me.
Drink it all. Drink it all.
There. Oh.
What's the matter?
Oh, that pain. Gordon, do something. Why are you?
It won't be long now, Ellen.
You mean
that arsenic you bought for the rats.
You're mad. They'll hang you for this.
No, Ellen. Oh, no. You have left a note behind. It's a clear case of suicide. I was shaking all over, yet my nerves had to be steady for what lay ahead of me. My own life depended on it. Music, that would relax me. The piano. I raced downstairs for the music room, but before I reached it, I heard the playing. I pushed open the door. A man was sitting there. A man I'd never seen before, but was somehow vaguely familiar.
Hello.
Who are you?
Don't you know?
Of course not. What are you doing here?
There was nobody at the piano. I didn't think you'd mind.
Well, I do mind. How'd you get in? The door's locked.
Is it? I didn't notice.
Breaking and entering, huh? I've got a good mind to call the police.
I'm sorry you're so suspicious. Still, I realize the strain you must be under.
What do you mean by that?
I'm afraid I'm interrupting you in business vital to both of us. I'll call again some other time.
No, wait. You can't leave like this. At least tell me your name.
I have many different names. When the time comes, you can call me by any one of them. Goodbye.
I put the stranger out of my mind. Too much depended on the telephone call I had to make. A single slip-up now, and a rope was waiting for me. I dialed with shaking fingers. Dr. Sampson, this is Gordon Ormsby. You must come at once. Ellen is dead. I think she's taken poison. It worked out, just as I'd planned, just as I'd hoped it would. The doctor's visit, the police, the inquest, no false moves, no suspicions. I became the sole inheritor of a large estate and a free man. I moved out of the old house and into a hotel suite in town. I don't know when it started to happen, but I first knew that something was wrong, and my fingers would no longer obey me at the piano. Nothing but calm. Rather, nothing but discords. I decided that my nerves were overstrained, that I needed a rest. I figured a trip somewhere would do me good. I went to the telephone to order my car brought around first thing in the morning, but before I picked up the receiver... Yes?
I'm going with you, Gordon.
Who is this?
Your friend. I'll see you first thing in the morning.
But...
Operator!
Operator, you cut me off. I was making a very important call.
There must be some mistake, sir. There was no call on your line.
I didn't wait. I couldn't. I packed that evening. I slipped a gun into my pocket. I left the hotel. By 11 o'clock, I was far out in the open country, driving west. The night was pitch black. And every mile, I burrowed further into the darkness. Then suddenly, a terrible conviction came over me. I knew I wasn't alone.
I'm coming up front now, Gordon.
You!
I said I was coming with you.
When did you get in this car?
I've been here right along. You drive well, Gordon. A cool head and a steady hand. But then you had to have them, didn't you?
What does that mean?
I was just thinking out loud. The money's nice, but music means a lot, too, doesn't it? A pity that went sour on you.
Look, I don't know who you are or what you're talking about.
And yet you proved a point to Ellen. You proved that you were an artist in a way, even though she couldn't live to appreciate it. Her death was your masterpiece.
The sweat stood out on my forehead. My mouth was dry. I didn't want it this way. One murder was enough to haunt me. But he left me with no alternative. He knew too much. Somewhere along that road, when the night was darkest, I knew I had to kill the stranger.
Yes. The mysterious stranger seems to know a great deal. Is it possible he knows even more than Gordon suspects about his plan for
murder at midnight?
Now here is Gordon Ormsby to continue our story.
I knew what I was looking for. A lonely stretch of road with no sign of life. At last the headlights found it. A valley with trees growing down to the edge of the road. The stranger seemed asleep, but he stirred as I jammed on the brakes.
What's wrong, Gordon?
Must have a flat. The wheel feels funny. Would you mind having a look?
That would be very unwise for me.
Why?
You have a gun in your pocket. I would make a perfect target out in the headlights.
Well, since you're so suspicious. Here, take it.
You amuse me, Gordon. However...
How do they look?
All right on this side.
I'm sure it's one of the front tires.
I'll see the other side.
Got him. He was standing squarely in front of the radiator when I got him. Just to make sure, I backed the car over his body. I dragged him across the ditch and into the woods. I dug a shallow grave with a tire iron, hacking in among the roots and the rocks. And then I covered him over. I got back into the car. I needed a drink. And when I came to a juke joint along the highway, I stopped.
All right. What's yours, mister?
Scotch, straight.
You been driving hard, mister?
Why?
You look all in.
Give me another shot. No, wait. Look, I'll buy the bottle.
I don't always want to sell. You know, scotch is hard to get around here.
I'll pay for it. I took the bottle over to a booth and began putting it away. I felt better, warm inside. It was going to be all right after all. The stranger was dead, and they'd never find his body. I was in the clear with nothing to worry about.
Help a poor blind man. Help a blind man.
There was something about that blind man's stick that got on my nerves. He came up to my table.
Help the old blind man, please.
Get away from here.
Please, sir, if you'd be so kind.
Will you get away?
Yes, sir. I'm sorry. I don't want any favors from anyone.
I said beat it.
I'm going, but you shouldn't have done that.
What's going on here? What's the idea of shoving Nettie?
He was annoying me. Then I saw him. He had the blind man by the elbow and was leading him toward the door. The stranger.
What's the matter with you, mister? What are you staring at?
There. Don't you see him?
Oh, blind Ned? Well, sure.
No. The man with him, opening the door.
There's nobody with him. Blind Ned don't need nobody. He's been going in and out of here by himself for years.
But it was he. I
I knew it was. I'd killed him, buried him, and, well, was he dead or wasn't he? I had to know. I drove back up the road. There were the trees and the broken weeds in the ditch through which I'd dragged the body. I walked carefully among the leaves, searching for the grave.
Hello there.
What?
What you doing?
Oh, who are you?
State trooper. Saw your car parked on the road, followed you in.
Well, I'm looking for my watch. I lost it here this afternoon at a picnic. I didn't realize it until I got home, so of course I turned around.
Sure. I'll help you.
Oh, no, please don't bother.
No bother. I got a flashlight here.
Well, it's awfully nice of you, but I don't think...
Hey, what's this?
Huh? Where?
Ground's all scraped up into a... Looks like a grave.
Well, what would a grave be doing here?
That's what I'd like to know. Give me a hand, will you? Fresh dirt and rocks digs easy.
Why...
What's the matter? Scared?
Oh, no. It's just
down to the bottom anyhow. Oh. Well, I'll be...
What is it?
It's a grave, all right. But if there was ever a body in it, it's gone now.
I had only one idea after that. To get away. To get away as far away as possible. I drove like a wild man the rest of the night and all next day, stopping only for gas. Finally, I just couldn't drive any farther. I stopped at a small hotel, went up to the desk to register.
Sign here, please.
I'm driving across country, and I've got to start first thing in the morning.
Certainly, Mr.
Ormsby.
Okay. What time would you like to be called?
At daylight. And another thing, I don't want to be disturbed under any circumstances.
Yes, sir.
That's important. No matter who wants to see me, on what excuse, I don't want to be disturbed.
I understand, Mr. Ormsby. Now, if you follow the porter.
The elevator doors were just closing when I saw him. He'd come in from the street and was walking across the lobby to the desk. I reached my room, dismissed the bellhop, and locked the door. With a shaking hand, I picked up the telephone.
Yes, clerk?
This is Mr. Ormsby. I thought I recognized a friend of mine in the lobby. A man about the same height and build as myself, dressed in a gray suit.
I'm afraid...
Well, he came in right after me. I haven't seen him in some time, and I've forgotten his name. Would you mind looking in the register and telling me what it is?
Just a minute now, look. Here we are. Your signature, Mr. Ormsby, and then...
Yes?
I'm sorry, sir. There is something, but the name's blotted. I can't make it out.
I knew now there was no escape. I took the money from my billfold and piled it on the table. I examined my revolver to make sure it was loaded. And then I sat and waited. A few minutes before midnight, the knock came. Come in.
Hello. You act as if you were expecting me.
I was. The only thing I'm not sure about is what you want. Or rather, how much.
You should know.
All the cash I've got is on the table. Nearly $500.
Ellen left you a good deal more than that.
All right, I'll write you out a check. Name the amount.
Everything you possess.
What? You're crazy. Do you honestly think, after the risks I took, the risks I'm still taking, I'd give everything away to a cheap blackmailer?
Murder is an expensive hobby, Gordon.
Well, not that expensive. If you want to be reasonable, say $50,000.
I'm afraid there's no compromise. And I'm not just talking about money.
Listen, this is your last chance. $50,000 or...
Or what, Gordon?
Or you don't leave this room alive.
You tried to kill me once before. Remember?
I lost my head. The car only stunned you, and I didn't make sure that you were dead. It'll be different this time.
It's always going to be different, isn't it, Gordon? When you disposed of Ellen, you were going to lead such a rich, beautiful life. Mm-hmm. But what happened to it? Your music went. You couldn't play.
Shut up.
And then your heart went. You struck out at an old blind man.
Listen, you.
There isn't very much left now, except your mind. And that's starting to go, too. Sometimes you see me, sometimes you don't.
I see you now. Large as life. But do you see this?
That gun won't do you any good. Besides, you're pointing it the wrong way.
I'm pointing it right between your eyes.
That's what I mean.
Well, you... gone. Yes, gone. Nowhere in the room. Then I heard the rapping at the door. In a daze, mechanically, I opened it.
Anything wrong, mister?
What? Who are you?
The house detective. I thought I
Oh,
heard...
you must have seen him. He must have run past you in the corridor.
Who?
The stranger, the man who was in my room.
Why did... Hey, be careful of that gun.
Well, I had to shoot him. He was threatening me. He was standing over there when I let him have it.
Oh, yeah? What did he look like?
He's about my height and build, wearing a gray suit.
Like the one you're wearing?
Hmm? Oh, yes.
I thought so. Look.
At what?
The mirror. You shot at your own reflection.
You mean...
Now do you know who I am, Gordon?
There, didn't you hear him?
Hear what? What are you talking about?
No. No, you wouldn't hear. Only I would. And now I do know who and what he is. I know why I couldn't escape him. Here, take this gun. I want to give myself up.
Give yourself up?
My name is Gordon Ormsby. I killed my wife. I poisoned her. I made it look like suicide, and there never was any trial.
Oh, I get it.
It
Sure,
was a perfect
sure.
crime. At least I thought it was a perfect crime until he came into the picture.
Now, don't you worry about it one bit, Mr. Ormsby. You just
Wait a
come
minute.
along with
Wait
me.
a minute. You think I'm making it up. And I'm crazy, don't you?
No.
You do think so. But it's true. Every word of it.
Sure. I got a good friend who's a doctor. You tell him.
Doctor? No. No, he won't believe me either. Nobody will believe me. They'll all think that I'm mad. Oh, don't you see? That's why I have to give myself up. Because that's the only way I can get away from him. If you hang me. But if you don't...
They won't, Gordon. They'll put you away. And wherever you go, I'll be there, too. Remember that? Wherever you go.
Taking him firmly by the arm, the detective leads the struggling Gordon out into the corridor. A corridor that grows darker and darker until it is completely black. Somewhere in that blackness, a voice is whispering, whispering, and it continues to whisper until it is drowned by a clock striking 12 for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death whispers softly in the night and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Gordon Ormsby was played by Barry Kroger. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
hang me like a common criminal, and I didn't mean it. You know I didn't.
Oh, stop whining, Gerald. Take your medicine like a man.
What? All right, Harvey. I'll stop. You're responsible for the whole thing. You know you are. And since they can only hang me once, even for 2 murders...
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Death's Goblets. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of Mystery and Terror by radio's Masters of the Macabre. Our story by Sigmund Miller is Death's Goblets.
It all began at one of Arthur Cunningham's parties. He always gave a party when he came back from one of his trips abroad. I went there with Gerald, my partner, and his wife, Susan. Beautiful Susan. Did I care for her? People used to say so. But she was too self-centered a woman for me. I like to look at her just as I like to look at anything that's lovely. That was all. As for Gerald, well, he was rich, which was the only reason he was my partner. But suppose I start at the beginning. At the moment we got to the party and Arthur came over.
Well, hello, Harvey. Glad you came.
Wonderful to see you back, Arthur. You know Gerald and his lovely wife, Susan.
Of course. Hello, lovely wife, Gerald.
Nice to see you again, Arthur.
Good trip, Arthur? Marvelous. You're just in time for a drink. Let's get away from this mob. Come into the study. I just opened my last bottle of Chateau Albert.
Oh, nice.
Here we are. Oh, someone get the glasses out of the cabinet, will you? Large parties make it very nervy. I'm much proud of you.
Here we are.
Yes.
Hi. What an odd goblet this one is.
Oh, put that one back, Susan.
Why, what's wrong, Arthur?
Use any of the others, but not that one.
Oh, I'll be careful of it if that's what you're worried about.
It's not that. I just don't want you to drink from it.
What's all the mystery about, Arthur?
Well, you'd all think I was mad if I told you. Take a look at it.
It's a very strange-looking glass.
Yes, looks Venetian, possibly from Murano.
It is.
This red spot here on the side.
Yes, it's supposed to be a drop of blood.
That's very odd. How do you know that?
Well, Gerald, this goblet has a legend, a terrible legend. And, of course, none of you will believe it, but the story is that anyone who drinks from this goblet will kill someone.
Oh, that's wonderful. And you believe it?
Why, yes, Gerald. You see, I've had proof.
Good heavens.
I once drank from this goblet.
What?
Arthur, you're joking. You mean that...
Yes, Susan, it was justifiable homicide, but after I drank from it, I did kill someone. Well, he was a thief and he attacked me, but still I killed him.
Well, you never told us about that.
Well, it's not anything that I care to remember particularly.
Oh, how terrible for you, Arthur. Where did you get the goblet?
From a murderer. A man who killed his wife. They were auctioning off his estate.
Extraordinary. May I look at the glass, Arthur?
Yes, if you like.
Everyone stared at the goblet in silence as I held it to the light. It had a delicate brown tint, reminding me of old blood, except that it sparkled and glittered. The spot of red did look like a drop of blood about to roll down the side. It seemed ridiculous that this inanimate object could make men commit murder, and yet there was something about it that fascinated me, and suddenly I wanted to drink out of it.
You seem very interested in my goblet, Harvey.
Yes, will you pour some wine in it for me?
What? No, Harvey. This happens to be one superstition I believe. Everyone who has ever put his lips to this goblet has killed. I don't know why it's so, but it is.
Oh, it's silly, of course, but why tempt fate? Oh, nonsense, Gerald, nonsense. I'm going to drink out of it.
You'll have to pour the wine yourself, Harvey.
All right, I will. Well, here's, health and long life.
No, Harvey, I won't let you.
Oh, well, Susan, You shouldn't have done that. You've spilled some of Arthur's best burgundy and ruined a good tablecloth.
It doesn't matter. I'm glad you did it, Susan.
I won't let you or anyone else drink from that glass.
Strange to get so distressed about a ridiculous legend.
I don't think murder is ridiculous.
You know, I'd like to get rid of it. I was thinking of destroying it.
Well, why don't you? Just fling it against the fireplace.
No, I can't.
Huh?
I've tried several times, but somehow I couldn't.
Arthur?
Yes?
How about giving it to me?
I'd rather not.
Oh, come on. You want to get rid of it, and I have a fine glass collection. I'd like to add to it. I'll keep it locked up.
You'll be sorry, but if you want it that badly, Harvey, it's yours.
Arthur, please don't give it to him.
Susan, what's the matter with you? You watch over Harvey as if... Well, as if...
As if what, Gerald?
Oh, the whole business is absurd.
Of course it is.
Yes, and if I should drink out of it and commit a murder, that would be the most absurd thing of all. I kept the goblet on the mantelpiece in my library where the lamplight made it glitter. I discovered that the red drop was not paint. It was ingrained in the glass. Oh, very cleverly. And one night, both Susan and Gerald were at my home. As we chatted, I got up, went to the mantelpiece, and idly toyed with the goblet.
The goblet? It's the one Arthur gave.
Yes, you remember. He gave it to me.
Why don't you smash it, Harvey? Get rid of it. Ooh, it gives us all the creeps.
Well, Gerald, you aren't really afraid of a piece of glass, are you?
You don't believe Arthur's story at all, do you, Harvey?
On the contrary, Susan, I do believe it. But not the way you think.
What do you mean?
Well, I mean to say murder is not in the goblet. It's in me, in you, even in Gerald.
Oh, what a silly thing to say, Harvey.
Oh, yes. You don't need a magic goblet to commit a murder. All you have to do is let yourself go. Let go of the civilized controls that tie you up. Why, Gerald, if you had cause, you could murder me or even your lovely wife.
Oh, I couldn't kill a fly.
Oh, but you could if the fly gave you enough trouble. Now, supposing, just as an example, supposing that you discovered that Susan was really in love with me and only married you for your money. Wouldn't that make you want to murder her, Gerald?
Oh, you're crazy.
That's not very funny, Harvey.
Even you, Susan.
What?
Even though you have a lovely face and exquisite hands, even you could commit murder. Why, there must have been times when you hated Gerald, or only for a moment, of course. But in that moment, if you were not so civilized...
Stop it, Harvey.
Why, you could even put your lovely hands around my throat.
Oh, stop it, Harvey. You're not that important to her. And then just why are we on this gruesome subject?
That's Harvey's idea of humor.
Susan looked at me, a touch of red at the point where the cheekbones make the skin taut. She seemed angry, but she wasn't really. Oh, yes, she loved me. I could see it in her face. She looked at me for a moment, and then dropped her eyes.
May I look at the goblet, Harvey?
No, I'm afraid not, Susan. You might accidentally drop it. It might be a good idea.
Well, I have an even better one, Gerald. And that's to go home before we get really serious about this murder business.
I sat there staring at the goblet after they left. It fascinated me, glittering in the lamplight. And as I looked at it, it almost seemed as if the red spot of blood was moving, rolling down its side. Why shouldn't I drink from it? Why? And before I knew it, I'd taken it down and put it on the table. I got a bottle of Burgundy, opened it, and I poured slowly, filling the goblet just up to the red spot. And then I drank from it. It seemed to me that the wine had a different taste, although I had drunk this wine often and knew its taste well. It was delicious. I had another. It was heady, and it made me a little dizzy, although I felt fine and free. Yes, light and dizzy. But after a while, when the dizziness wouldn't go away, I decided to go for a drive, even though it was close to midnight. I drove fast. The speed and power of the car gave me a feeling of great exhilaration. I took the turns at full speed, enjoying the danger of the sharp curves. Then I came to a long, level stretch of road. I pressed down hard on the gas. The needle of the speedometer slowly moved upward. 60, 70, 80, 85. The road, like a black river, rolled up in front of me, and then I suddenly saw him, but it was too late. I struck him with my right fender. He never made a sound. The car swerved a little from the impact. My heart in my throat. I stopped. Then I backed up. Then up. Backed up to where the body was lying, sprawled grotesquely on the edge of the road. One look was enough. He was dead. But no one had seen the accident. I stepped on the gas and drove off.
Death's goblet, and the man who drank from it. A corpse lying limp by the side of a lonely road. And the car speeding away as the clock strikes 12 for
murder at midnight.
Back to Murder at Midnight. Harvey challenged the curse of the goblet and found it true. He had just killed a man after drinking from it. Let's listen to him as he continues the story of Death's Goblet.
I knew now that the story of the goblet wasn't a myth, and I also knew what I was going to do about it. The next night, I got Gerald to come to my house to do some work.
I can't make head or tail out of your cost estimates, Harvey.
Oh, no, really, Gerald, it's very simple. Just concentrate.
Why can't you take care of it like a good fellow? I'm awfully tired.
Well, all right, let's stop for a couple of minutes. Have a drink?
Oh, what are you doing, Harvey? The goblet.
Why, you don't really believe that story of Arthur's, do you? Well, you're much too intelligent for that. Well, you only pretended in front of Susan, didn't you?
Well, yes. Had to pretend, you know, women.
Well, of course. And even if you did believe it, I've a feeling that basically you're pretty reckless, aren't you?
Used to be pretty wild when I was a young fellow. On a motorcycle once.
Yes, I know, yes. Well, let's drink up. Find me a victim, will you, Gerald?
Yeah?
Well, you know, according to the legend, I've got to murder someone. Maybe even you.
Harvey the murderer.
Yes. Very nice wine. How about another?
Right.
Well, here's to your lovely wife. And how about switching glasses?
Huh?
Well, you might as well get a kick out of it, too.
Okay. Here goes.
I watched the fool swagger as he drank down the wine. In an hour, when he was alone, he'd be shivering with fright at what he'd done.
Well, I did it.
You certainly did. By the way, Gerald.
Yes?
I checked Arthur's story about this goblet.
Yeah?
And it seems that he's right. Everyone who ever put his lips to this goblet has committed a murder.
You mean...
Well, of course, it's all coincidence, but then again, who knows? All the next week, I kept reminding Gerald about his drinking from the goblet. I wasn't really trying to get him to kill, but it was amusing to see him get upset and uneasy. And I noticed he was getting a little bolder, particularly with Susan, and had developed a temper. And one night, just as I was about to retire, Yes, Susan, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm just a little worried about Gerald. He usually gets home at about 6, and it's 11 o'clock now. Do you know where he might be?
Why, he's having dinner with his sister.
Sister?
Yes, a tall, dark girl. She was in the office today, and...
Harvey, Gerald has no sisters.
Oh, he hasn't?
No.
Oh, I guess I got him mixed up with someone else. Yes. It was Les Gordon who was meeting his sister. Yes, Gerald had some business to take care of over in Milford.
You're not very good at covering up, Harvey. I'm coming right over. Please wait up for me.
Good. Things were beginning to happen. It was becoming very interesting. Now we'd see.
Harvey, I want you to tell me everything. I must know. Who is this girl?
Take it easy, Susan. Come, sit down.
Oh, never mind that. What about Gerald?
I don't know anything about Gerald's private life. And besides, you're not the one to talk.
What on earth do you mean?
You know perfectly well what I mean. You don't really care for Gerald. Actually, you're in love with me.
Harvey.
Well, you are, aren't you?
Maybe. Sometimes I think I am. Oh, but you're too cold-blooded. I'd never be sure I could trust you.
As a matter of fact, you'd like to get rid of Gerald.
Why do you say that?
Well, I'm just putting your thoughts into words. You never really loved him, did you?
But Harvey...
And he's finally become unbearable, hasn't he?
Oh, Harvey, if you only knew.
Do you know that the last time Gerald was here, he drank out of that goblet of Arthur's? It's possible that he wants to get rid of you, too.
Oh, stop it, you hear?
Well, I'm just telling you what I think you ought to know.
Oh, we'll see. I left word at home that Gerald was to meet me here. And if he does come, well, we'll see.
He sat and waited, not talking much. Susan's face was pale and agitated. It was most exciting. Susan, with all her charm and embellishments, was really a fierce animal underneath. I could almost hear her rage seething.
Are you expecting anyone?
Just Gerald.
Well, let him in.
Well, hello, Harvey. Susan, what's up? Why did you leave word to meet you here?
It's almost midnight. Where have you been all the evening?
At Milford.
With whom?
What's going on, anyway? What are you so excited about, Susan?
What were you doing in Milford?
Why, I went there on business.
Oh, really? You've been behaving very strangely lately, Gerald. If you don't love me, why don't you say so like a man?
What? This is all your fault, Harvey. You've been filling her head with poison.
Hey, I had nothing to do with this. I told her that you went to Milford.
All he did was to make me see clearly something I felt for a long while. And I think this is the time to do something about it.
So, are you out of your mind? Put that gun down.
You remember it, don't you? You gave it to me. Said it might be useful in an emergency.
Harvey, take that gun away from her. She's liable to shoot.
She won't shoot. She's only trying to frighten you.
Am I? Let's see.
Oh, my shoulder. Give me that
No.
Harvey, she's dead.
Yes, Gerald. And you killed her.
But it was an accident. She shot at me, and I was only trying to get the gun away from her. You know that's what happened.
I only know that you drank from that goblet and that you killed her.
What? But... Oh, you dirty treacherous. You planned all this so that you could get rid of me. So that you could have Susan. You could have the firm for yourself.
You'll have to do better than that to beat the gallows, Gerald.
The gallows? Please, Harvey. We've been friends for a long time. You can't let me down.
You wouldn't have pressed the trigger if you hadn't had murder in your heart, Gerald. You shot her because you wanted to. That's what I saw. I believe in telling the truth.
Harvey, I'll turn over the business to you. I'll do anything, if you'll just...
I don't accept bribes, Gerald.
All right. But I'll fool you. I'll call the police myself.
Well, there's the phone.
I'll prove my case in court. They won't convict me. Operator, give me the police. Hello? Police department? This is Gerald Hamilton. I just accidentally shot my wife. And my friend's home. Yes, she's dead. The address is 411 Grove Street. That's right. I killed her. Accidentally. Yes. I'll be waiting here.
Cigarette, Gerald?
Treating me like a condemned man, huh? Well, I'm not going to die. All I have to do is tell the truth about everything, including you.
Oh, but you forget, Gerald, there must be fingerprints, your fingerprints on that gun. That won't look very accidental, will it?
But Harvey...
You did it, Gerald. I saw you.
If you don't back me up, they'll hang me like a common criminal. Please, Harvey, don't let them do that to me, please.
Oh, stop whining, Gerald.
What? All right, Harvey, I'll stop. You're responsible for this whole thing. You know you are. And since they can only hang me once...
He raised the gun, but I'd been expecting it. I grabbed his hand, pushed it against his chest. My finger pressed on his and on the trigger. And suddenly, he went limp.
You won't get away.
My alibi was perfect. All I had to do was wait for the police that he himself had called. The minutes ticked slowly away. And then...
Hello, Harvey.
Arthur.
Glad I found you in. Say, you look as if you'd been in a fight.
Arthur, you'd better not come in.
Why? What's the matter?
No, you'd better not come in.
Oh, but why?
Well, Gerald and Susan, they had a quarrel, and he killed her.
What?
And then he shot himself.
What are you talking about, Harvey?
Well, all right, come in. Look for yourself.
Good Lord.
Tried to kill me, too.
But why? It doesn't sound like him or like either of them.
Well, I don't know why. Fit of insanity? Or maybe it was the goblet. Your goblet. He drank out of it, you know.
The goblet? Why, that's ridiculous.
As he spoke, he picked up the gun. It made me furious. All those fine fingerprints of Gerald's were now erased. Put that gun down, Arthur. There are fingerprints on it.
Oh, I'm sorry. I didn't realize.
I tried to get hold of myself. The stupid fool, he was going to ruin everything. But I had to keep calm. What were you saying about the goblet?
Why, it has no curse or magic. I just made that story up.
You made it... You mean...
Of course, I bought the goblet in an antique shop. As a matter of fact, I have a whole set of them.
The pulses hammered away in my head. A vast, uncontrollable anger seized me. Was it because of those precious fingerprints that he'd wiped out, or because I had believed in the goblet myself? I don't know. I only know that I had to fight to keep from grabbing him by the throat.
You know, I don't think you're telling me everything you know about this horrible business, Harvey. In fact...
A red-hot wave came over me. I don't remember exactly what happened.
Let me go! Get your hands off me! Oh!
Arthur's body is lying there, too, now. Next to Susan's and Gerald's. But the police will be here any minute, so I have to hurry. First, the goblet. There. That's done. No. Some of the broken fragments still glitter in the lamplight. I've got to crush them, grind them to powder under my heel. But there are all these other pieces that I can't find. They're hiding from me. They're afraid of me. But I'll find every piece. I'll find them. I'll find them. I'll find them.
Three bodies lying huddled on the floor, and a madman crushing the fragments of the broken goblet to powder. As the police car drives up and the clock strikes 12 for
murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death appears at the door, wearing the face of a friend, and the clocks strike 12 for
murder midnight.
The part of Harvey was played by Eric Dressler. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.
A chicken, huh? Hey, guys. Yeah, what do you know? Chicken's turning out to be a rooster all of a sudden. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle.
In case anybody here is interested, from here on in, the name is just plain Charlie Nix.
Midnight. The witching hour when the night is darkest, our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in Trigger Man. And now, Murder at Midnight. Tales of mystery and terror by radio's foremost mystery writers. Our story, written by Max Ehrlich, is different from any of the other tales you have heard in this program. Its mystery is not that of the supernatural, but of the unknown quantities in the human soul. And so, because it has suspense and complete credibility, we give you Trigger Man.
Is that the door? No. No, not yet. Not that it matters. You can't get very far with a slug in your guts. But I can sit here. And when I come through that door, I'll show him what Chicken Charlie Nix can do with a gun. Sure, maybe it'll be for the last time. But what can I lose now? It's funny how it all comes back to you in the end. Just a year and a half ago that it all started. But I remember it like it was yesterday. I was standing back in the doorway waiting for some sucker to come along. It was down at the waterfront and it was plenty dark. I stood there, the rod cold in my hand, waiting. Finally, I heard footsteps. A man and a woman. I waited until they were almost opposite the doorway, and then... Hey, buddy. Got a match?
Why, yes, I think so.
Never mind. Get your dukes up.
Tell him he's got a gun.
Oh, stick up, huh?
Aren't you smart, sucker? Come on, reach. Get those hands up before I let you have it. There. It's better. Okay, lady, let's begin with you.
What's all right?
Hand over that purse.
Better do as he says, Ann.
All right, Dylan.
Thanks, lady. Thanks very much. Okay, buddy, let's have your wallet. I said come across with your wallet.
Not tonight, chicken.
What do you mean? Hey, wait a minute. How come you know my name?
It's my job to know it. And your face, too. The name's Riley. From headquarters.
Tom Riley. Plainclothes.
Yeah.
Keep up those hands. Keep them up or I'll twig.
I know you won't, chicken.
Tom.
Not for a lot more than I've got in my wallet.
Tom, what are you doing? He'll kill you.
I don't think he will.
Will you, chicken?
Keep away from me, Flatfoot. Don't come a step nearer, you hear? Another step and I'll splatter you all over the sidewalk.
You haven't got the nerve, chicken. You know it and I know it. Now, drop that gun.
Keep away, do you hear? I ain't afraid to shoot. I'll tell you, I'll let you have it.
Then what are you waiting for?
Wait.
That was for the gun, chicken, and this is for you.
No.
Hold me up. No, you yellow belly rat. Pull the gun on me, will you?
Oh, Tom.
It's okay, Ann. It's all over.
You could have been killed. Walking straight into a hold-up man and knocking the gun out of his hand.
Well, I knew he wouldn't shoot, Ann.
You know? But how?
His name is Charlie Nix. Chicken Charlie. Oh, he carries a gun, yeah, but he's not a gunman. Because he's never used it and he never will. Just plain chicken-hearted. Yellow. That's why they call him Chicken.
Still, you took an awful chance, Tom. There's always a first time.
Not for Chicken Charlie. Now, then, you see if you can find a phone, honey, and call headquarters while I keep an eye on this yellow skunk here.
Yeah, that's the way it was. I just didn't have the nerve to put the blast on anyone. Sometimes in my room, I'd put my gun on the table and just look at it. I'd keep thinking, if I only had the nerve, I'd be one of Angelo Dinelli's triggermen instead of his errand boy. The rest of the mob would respect me instead of slapping me around and calling me Chicken. That's what got me more than anything else, the way they laughed and called me Chicken. It wasn't that I didn't try. That time I held up Riley, I was going to let him have it. I wanted to, but I don't know, at the last minute I got all cold inside. My fingers got stiff and numb. And it cost me a year in a pen. The day after I got out, I was sitting in the Boulevard Cafe, having myself a beer, when in walked the boss, Angie Dinelli.
It's great having you back, Chicken.
Thanks, Angie. Thanks.
By the way, I saw an old pal of yours the other day.
Yeah? Who?
Tom Riley.
Riley, huh?
Yeah, it's too bad you didn't knock him off that night, Chicken.
Yeah. But one of these days, Angie, I'm going to meet him, and then
Oh, kid, I know how you feel. After all, when a guy takes your gun away, it makes you look like a chump.
Yeah, he made me look like a chump, all right. But I'm different now, Angie. That year in the clink, well, I got a different kind of nerve now. Wait to see.
Sure, but take it easy, kid. There's plenty of time, plenty. You just got out of stir, and you got yourself to worry about.
What do you mean, Angie? I did my time, didn't I? I'm in the clear.
Sure, Chicken, sure. But if you ask me, the pen didn't do you any good. You look kind of all in. You don't feel so good, do you?
What makes you say that, Angie?
Oh, I don't know. Your face ain't got any color and you're breathing hard all the time.
Well, I feel okay.
Sure. I ain't saying anything's wrong with you, Chicken. But you never can tell until a good doc checks you over, huh?
Yeah. Maybe you're right, Angie. Maybe I ought to see a doctor, huh?
Now you're talking sense, kid. Tell you what I'll do. I'll take you to my own doctor, Dr. Leonard. He's a big specialist, and he'll give you the once-over right.
Yeah, but he probably comes high. And
Forget it, Chicken, forget it. I'll take care of it. Won't cost you a dime.
Hey, that's pretty white of me, Angie.
Think nothing of it, kid. After all, you're one of my boys, ain't you?
Yeah. Yeah, I am.
Well, if there's one thing Angie Dinelli does, it's to take care of his boys.
A couple of days later, Angie Dinelli set up an appointment for me with this Dr. Leonard. I went to his office, and he gave me a real checkup from soup to nuts. And when he got through, I didn't like the look on his face.
Sit down, Mr. Nix, and let's talk.
Doc, what's the matter? Did you find something wrong?
Care for a cigarette?
Never mind the stolen, Doc. Give it to me straight. Is it good or bad?
I'm sorry, but it's bad.
You mean my chest?
It isn't your chest. It's your heart.
My heart? What about it?
Now, you've got a severe aneurysm there.
A what? What's that mean?
Yeah, it means that you've got a serious weakness of the heart muscle wall.
Yeah, but how serious?
I'm sorry, Mr. Nix, but you haven't got more than 6 months to live.
6 months. Yeah, that's what he said. 6 months to live. For a while I didn't get it. You don't get things like that right away. And then 6 months, and he gave me 6 months to live. Someday I'll be just walking along and maybe sleeping, and then it'll come.
It's tough, chicken. Plenty tough. Yeah. I know how you feel.
Nobody knows how I feel. Except maybe a guy in a death house. Yeah, that's what it's like. Like knowing when you're going to burn, waiting for it.
Take it easy, chicken. Yeah. Have another drink, huh?
Yeah, thanks. Thanks, Angie. You're okay.
Maybe the doc was wrong. There's always a chance.
No, Angie. Check me twice just to make sure. There ain't a thing I can do, not a thing except wait for it. Just sit around and wait to croak.
Listen, kid. You've got 6 months to live. Okay. You know what I'd do if I had 6 months to live?
What? What would you do?
I'd live. Huh? Yeah, I'd spend all my time living. Champagne, dames, I'd have them all. I'd do all the things I ever wanted to do but didn't have the nerve to do before. You see what I mean, kid? I'd live a lifetime in 6 months.
Sure, but that takes dough.
You can get the dough?
How?
From me.
Huh?
Look, chicken. You always wanted to be a trigger man, didn't you?
Yeah.
Well, I am hiring you right here and now. At $500 a week.
500? But, Angie, you know I ain't got the nerve.
Sure you have, but it's different now. You don't have to be afraid of a thing. Not a thing. Well, you can go around blasting guys like clay pigeons if you want to.
But suppose the cops nail me.
What do you care? Suppose they send you to the death house. You got nothing to lose anyway, have you? Your heart's bad, ain't it? You've only got a little while anyway, either way.
That's right, Angie. That's right. What can I lose? Then Ellie was right. This was my chance. I packed a new gap and started to look for Riley. Riley, the dick who'd sent me up. Yeah, he was going to be number one.
He'll be coming along here any minute, kid.
Yeah.
This is it, chicken. There's Riley. There he is. No, chicken, not yet. Wait, he comes closer. Look, Angie, the first one that comes hardest, kid. The rest are easy. Look at him, pal. He knows from nothing. Take your beat on him. You can't miss. Okay, chicken, go ahead. Let him have it. Go ahead. Bless him. You did it.
Yeah, I guess I did it.
Flat on the sidewalk, colder than yesterday's hash. You did it, Charlie.
Angie, you just called me Charlie.
Sure, kid, why not? You're not chicken anymore. Now, maybe we better get out of here.
Roars away up the street, leaving the body lying there in a pool of blood. As the clock strikes 12 for
murder at midnight.
And now, back to Murder at Midnight, to the story of Trigger Man.
Where are they, anyway? Getting kind of anxious to see them. Even with a slug in my gut, I'll be able to give them quite a reception. Funny how a guy can change. How different it's all been since I put the blast on Riley. That was my first and the toughest one. After that, it was easy. There were plenty of guys in Angie Dinelli's way, and I aimed to please. Whenever I watched one of them fold up with that funny expression on his face, well, it kind of helped.
It helped me to forget how it was with me. It was like a champagne drunk. But then the hangover would come, and I'd remember that I had less than 6 months to live myself. Yeah, I was a different guy, all right. Take what happened a couple of days after I got Riley. We was having a meeting up at the Hideaway on a new job when a character named Bummy Devine started shooting his mouth off.
Hey, Chicken. Still carrying around that pop gun of yours?
What did you call me?
Chicken. Ain't that your name?
The name is Charlie. Charlie Nix.
Hey, guys. Yeah? What do you know? Chicken's turning out to be a rooster all of a sudden. Cock-a-doodle-doo. Cock-a-doodle.
In case anybody else here is interested, the name from here in is just plain Charlie Nix. They didn't laugh after that. No one did again, ever. I was it. I took chances where no other trigger man would. Why not? What'd I have to lose? A few months, I'd be through anyway. There was a difference. Meanwhile, I lived. I painted the town red, bought myself tailored suits, hit the clubs every night, the gambling joints. And the dames, why, I had to fight them off. You can do a lot with $500 a week. Sure, I was hot, plenty hot. The cops couldn't figure out at the beginning who was doing all the fancy gun work, but they were getting warm, and they were getting close. I had to watch myself. And then one night, we were knocking off a fur warehouse. I was in the lookout car out front when suddenly...
Hey, Charlie, a prowl car.
Yeah, come on, Mike. Let's get out of here.
They're shooting at us. Tommy guns. Hang on, Charlie.
Here they come right after us. Hold it steady, Mike. I'm going to try to nail a tire.
Oh! Hey, Charlie. Charlie, what's the matter?
I'm hit. Keep going, Mike. Got a ditch him on. When I opened my eyes, there was a smell of chloroform, and the doctor was just putting away some instruments. Mike was there, too, with a gat in his hand, making sure that the doc would cooperate.
Hello, Charlie. How do you feel?
I don't know. What happened?
The doc here just dug a slug out of your chest.
Oh. How am I doing, Doc?
You'll be all right. Lucky you've got a good heart. Otherwise, you'd never have made it.
What? Did you say my heart was good?
That's right.
But I don't get it. I thought I had a bad tick. They told me I didn't have more than a few months to live.
With that heart, my friend, you can live to be 100. That is, if the police don't interfere.
I spent 3 weeks laid up after that, in bed. And every day the boss would send me flowers, comic books, and all kinds of stuff. A real thoughtful guy, Angie. But I was thoughtful, too. There were some things I had to add up for myself. I had to find out whether I was living on borrowed time or not. As soon as I could walk, I made a beeline for Angie Donnelly's specialist, Doc Leonard. But I found out right away that Doc Leonard didn't live there anymore. A dentist was in the office instead. Then I looked up the superintendent.
Yes, I'm in charge here. What can I do for you? If it's about
It isn't. I'm looking for Dr. Leonard.
Dr. Leonard? Oh, the one that was in the dentist's office before.
That's right. You know where he went?
No, he didn't leave any forwarding address. It's a funny thing about him.
Yeah? Why?
Why, he paid us a month's rent in advance and moved in, equipment and everything. But he only stayed 2 days. Moved out at night. No notice, nothing. Just came and went.
I see.
Never could figure it out. That's the way it was. Sorry, I couldn't be of more help, mister.
That's okay. You've told me enough. All I want to know.
So that was it. I had the answer. I went home, took my old gun out of the drawer, slipped it into my shoulder holster. Felt good there. Just like old times. I was just putting on my hat and coat when the phone rang. Hello.
Hello, Charlie. How you feel?
Fine, Angie, fine. Funny thing you calling up just now.
Yeah, why?
I was just thinking of you. Where are you now?
I'm over at my apartment. Listen, kid, do you feel well enough to do a little jog for me tonight?
I feel fine.
That's swell. Drop over to my place right away.
Okay, I'll be right over. And, Angie.
Yeah?
Thanks for everything. For the flowers and stuff.
Forget it, kid. What's a pal for, anyway?
Funny how a guy acts sometimes. I remember in the cab on the way over, I was like ice. Cold inside and out. I should have been excited, but I wasn't. I came up to Angie's apartment and knocked on the door.
Yeah, who is it?
Me, Charlie.
Oh, okay. Morning, Charlie.
Yeah, thanks.
Well, you're up and around, huh, kid? That's great.
Yep, not that it makes much difference. You see, Angie, my 6 months is supposed to be up tomorrow.
Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. And you know something, Angie? I feel fine. And yet, I'm supposed to cook.
Well, it's just like I said, kid. Maybe Doc Leonard was wrong.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Maybe he was wrong, made a mistake.
Sure.
So, this afternoon, I went up to see him.
You did, huh?
Yeah. And you know what, Angie? He doesn't live there anymore.
No.
In fact, he only set up practice there a couple of days. Kind of set me to wondering.
Uh-huh. Wondering, what?
Whether this Doc Leonard wasn't a doctor after all, but just a phony.
I don't get it. Why should he be?
Suppose you tell me, Angie.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh? And suppose I tell you, Angie. This Doc Leonard was your boy. Between you framed me with this bad heart gag. You needed a gunster who could take chances, and I was your pigeon.
Wait a minute, Charlie.
It was easy, wasn't it, then, Ellie? Talking a chump like me into it. When I thought I only had 6 months to go. You knew I wouldn't be afraid anymore. Sure. What could I lose? And so you got me to do your dirty work for you while you were somewhere else with an airtight alibi. And when the heat was turned on, you knew it'd be on me.
You're wrong, kid. You see, you were supposed to live 6 months. And that's all you're going to live.
Don't do any reaching, Angie. Don't! You taught me how to use a gun, Angie. You should have just let me stay Chicken Charlie Nix. Yeah, he got me in the belly with his first one. But I got him before he could repeat. There he is, lying on his own rug, soaking in his blood. As for me, well, there ain't much I can do but wait. Somebody must have heard the shots, called the cops. Funny how I feel now, how different it is. When you think of it, if I'd stayed Chicken Charlie, I wouldn't be here now with a slug in my guts. Like the doc said, I could have lived to be maybe 100.
Well, if it ain't old Chicken Charlie.
Hello, Copper. What did you call me?
Why, we've been looking all over for you, Chicken. But it looks like somebody saved the state some dough.
Not yet. I've still got enough stuff to... Stay away, don't come any closer, you hear?
No? Why not, Chicken?
Because I'm a killer, that's why. Because I got nothing to live for anyway. Keep away from me, you hear? Keep away or...
Oh, what? Give me that rod.
Stop, you can't.
Sure I can, punch. Once a chicken, always a chicken.
His eyes eyes wide and incredulous, the hunched figure slips from the deep armchair, falls to the floor, next to the body of the man he killed. And somewhere in the distance, a clock in a church steeple starts chiming for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death is our unseen guest, and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Chicken Charlie Nix was played by Bill Quinn. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight is directed by Anton M. Leader.
Tube was pointing at Matson's body. When the switch went in, there was a whining noise. And then a white light shot out of it. I know you won't believe this. When it hit the body, it went all soft. It was just like the bones had gone out of it. It just went all soft and kind of poured off the chair and onto the floor.
Midnight, the witching hour when the night is darkest. Our fears the strongest, and our strength at its lowest ebb. Midnight, when the graves gape open and death strikes. How? You'll learn the answer in just a minute in The Heavy Death. And now, Murder at Midnight, tales of mystery and terror by radio's Masters of the Macabre. Our story, written by Robert Newman, is a weird and fantastic nightmare called The Heavy Death. A road just outside the small town of Medford. And running up at his face white and terror-stricken in the moonlight is a small, slight man. He pauses every once in a while, his breath whistling in his nostrils, listening, and then runs on again. Finally, seeing the two green lights of the state police barracks, he moans with relief. Runs in.
Oh, thank God there's somebody here. I was afraid. Look, officer, you gotta get me away from here fast.
Huh? Just a minute, Mike. Take it easy.
Easy. You'll be here any minute coming after me. I gotta get away, I tell you.
And I'm telling you to take it easy. Just wait till I get through talking to Dr. Carden
Dr.
here.
Carden? Are you Dr. Carden lives in the big white house near the river?
Why, yes.
Well, then you can tell him it's true. Otherwise, he won't believe me. Nobody will. It was you who swiped the big glass thing from your laboratory.
A Geiger counter? You stole it?
He made me do it.
Oh, now, whoa. This is getting interesting. That's why Dr. Carden's here. You know anything about his assistant? Young chap named Matson?
Yeah. He's dead. He killed him.
Matson? Matson dead? Hey, maybe you better start from the beginning. Tell us the whole story.
Yeah, but I didn't have any time. He'd be coming after me and... Oh, okay. Like I said, you won't believe it. My name's Sullivan. They call me Shill because I'm a come-on with Brian's Giant Carnival. Weight guessing is my racket, but I turn my hand at almost anything, you know, shell game, 3-card money. Well, we hit town about 10 days ago for a 3-day stand. The first 2 nights was pretty quiet. The third one was when it happened. There was a pretty fair crowd around, and I was warming him up for some weight guessing, with maybe some side bets, when he came up.
Okay, folks, okay. Step up, hurry up. And let Foxy Sullivan guess your weight. A Cupid doll is about 3 pounds off either way. Now, what do you say, lady? Your weight's not like your age, you know. Ha ha! It always shows.
What about you, sir? Guess your weight?
Do you really think you can?
Do I think?
Ha ha! Listen to him, folks. You bet your sweet life, brother.
Oh, I have already. The question is, will you bet your sweet life?
What? What do you mean? Look, do you want me to guess your weight or not, huh?
On the terms I outlined, why, yes. I'll be glad to have you try.
Try, sissy. Okay, folks, here we go. Now, let's see. A big man, a solid man. Hefty pair of arms on him. I say, 195 pounds.
195.
And 3 pounds off either way, and you get a Cupid doll. Now, just sit right down here on the scale. There you are. Hey, what goes on here? You broke my scale.
Yes, it only goes up to 350 pounds.
300. What do you got in your pockets?
Would you like to look?
Nah. No, I don't know how you did it, but more power to you, brother. When I lose, that pay with a smile. Well, here's your Cupid.
Thank you. No, that's not what we bet.
What? What do you mean?
I think you know what I mean. The carnival closes in about an hour. I'll be waiting.
He went walking off, slow and heavy. The crowd stood around for a couple of minutes, gaping at the broken scale and talking. Then they all decided it was some kind of a gag and went on and forgot about it. For me, I couldn't forget about it. Somehow I didn't think it was a gag. There was something about him, the way he moved, the way he talked, it scared the pants off me. I hung around for a while, getting my stuff together, and then I looked up Rube Thomas. Rube's a big guy. Used to be a wrestler, and he was just closing up his Wheel of Fortune.
Hiya, Rube. How are they going?
Not bad for a one-horse town. How's it you?
Oh, not too bad. Till some wise guy busted my scale.
Huh? Busted your scale?
Yeah. Well, Rube, that's why I come over. He was a queer duck. I just couldn't figure his pitch, but he said something about waiting for me when he closed up, so I thought...
So you thought maybe you should have some protection walking out of the station.
Yeah.
That's a hot one.
What is?
You and your side bets. Well, don't worry about it. Ain't no one gonna lay a finger on you when you're with Rube Thomas.
I helped Rube take down the wheel. But even then, we were about the last to leave the fairgrounds. We went out through the main gate. It was pretty dark, but I wasn't worried anymore. I'd never yet seen anybody Rube couldn't handle. Then I heard footsteps. Slow and heavy ones. And then...
There you are. I've been waiting for you.
Yeah? No kidding?
This the guy?
Yeah,
Okay, Bub. What's the pitch? What's your racket?
Racket? There's no racket. Your friend and I had a bet. I've come to collect.
Yeah? Well, I'll tell you a funny thing about carnivals. When we pull up stakes and get ready to go, all bets is off.
I'm afraid this one can't be called off. You see, I need him.
You need him?
Yes. You bet your life, remember? And you lost.
You mean you... Oh, you're nuts.
There are people who have thought so, but I'm not. Shall we go?
No, I ain't gonna. Rube!
Take it easy, Shell. I told you all bets was off, mister. Now you gotta blow 'em, I gotta have to get rough with you.
I wouldn't if I were you.
No? Well, here's one just for luck. Oh, my hand.
I warned you.
Oh, you... I'll break your bloody neck.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to hurt you.
You won't believe this. Like you probably won't believe what happened afterwards. He didn't swing or anything. He just kind of dropped his fist on Rube's head. And he smashed in his skull like it hit him with a lead pipe. Good Lord, you killed him.
Yes. Shall we go?
No,
Look at me. Into my eyes. That's right. Now remember this. You're mine. Mine to do it exactly as I wish. And you do exactly what I wish. Do you understand?
Yes. Yes.
Good. Then let's go.
Something happened. Happened to me then and there. Something I ain't over yet. It wasn't just that I was scared, more scared than I've ever been in my life. It was something else. When I looked into his eyes, it was like that just plain didn't count. That no one or nothing did. Then I just had to do whatever he wanted, whatever he said. We got in his car and drove to your place, Doc, and we stopped in front of it, and he pointed at a kind of low building behind it.
That is Dr. Carden's laboratory. And he has something there I need. A Geiger counter. You're going in and get it for me.
You mean swipe it?
Yes. It would take too much time to make one of my own, and as I said, I need it. Now, it's got a long glass tube, about this size, with filaments inside it.
Yeah, but suppose somebody sees me. Suppose somebody comes...
Carden's away in Washington with that childish atomic energy commission of theirs. There's only Matson, his assistant, and he must be sleeping. If he should try and stop you, well, you'll have to take care of him, but remember, I want that Geiger counter.
Like I said, it was like I was numb. Didn't have a mind of my own. I did it. Found an open window. Went in and got what he wanted. Brought it out to him. He didn't say a word. He just put it in the back of the car and we drove away. It was about 11:45 when we got to his place. Big rambling house at the foot of a mountain. He took me around the back through a kind of iron door and... Well, it was like out of Buck Rogers, the 25th century. Big glass tubes, dynamos, wires. He must have noticed me staring because he said...
Go ahead, look around. There's equipment here that doesn't exist anyplace else in the world.
Yeah, but what's it all for?
And if I told you, you'd be even more frightened than you are now. By the way, what's your name?
Sullivan. Sean Sullivan.
I'm Dr. Vance. Dr. Brian Vance.
Doctor?
Of nuclear physics. Without doubt, the greatest scientist in the world today. Do you know anyone else who has been able to convert most of the elements of the human body into the heavy isotopes?
Look, I don't know what you mean, but is that...
Yes. That is why not only my weight, but the entire atomic mass of my body's... What's that?
Sounds like a car.
Yes, but who... Oh, Matson. He must have heard you in the laboratory, followed us.
Well, I was as quiet as I could, be honest.
There's nothing to be worried or excited about. Hello, Matson.
Vance, I should have known it was you.
Should have known what was me?
That stole our Geiger. You've done an awful lot of strange things in your career, Vance, but this time you've gone just a little too far. This time I've got you dead to rights.
I'm afraid it's just the other way around, Matson.
What do you mean? What? Vance.
You don't really think I'd let you or anyone interfere with what I'm doing, do you?
You killed him,
Of course. Drag him over there out of the way. There's a certain experiment I'm just about ready to try, and his body will come in very handy.
With Shel Sullivan staring at him in abject horror, Dr. Vance turns away from the body on the floor, lumbers over to one of his instruments, and begins examining it. And far away, in the town's church steeple, the clock strikes 12 for...
Murder at midnight.
And now, back to Murder at Midnight and The Heavy Death.
It's just a moment later. Sergeant Rowe and Dr. Carden staring incredulously at Sullivan as he pauses for a moment in his terrifying story. Then the trooper says,
We did find Thomas's body out by the fairground, but it was an accident. Hit by a truck or something. You mean this Vance killed Matson just like that?
Shot him without turning a hair.
Sure sounds to me like... Dr. Carden, what do you think?
I don't know, Sergeant. I do know Vance. I knew that he had a laboratory somewhere near here. And, well, it's true that he probably knows as much about nuclear physics as anyone in the world. We tried several times to get him to work with us during the war, but he laughed at us, said that what we were doing was childish.
Yes, but this other business, this changing himself, making himself heavy.
Yeah, Even his voice was heavy like.
Is that possible, Doctor?
Theoretically, yes, I suppose it is. After all, Professor Urey did it with hydrogen, made heavy water. And we've done it with uranium.
Yes, but why would he want to do it? Why?
There I can only guess. For all his genius, I've always felt Vance was a little mad. It's possible he believes that by changing the atomic weight of his body, he can make it immune to disease.
Yeah, that's right. It's true. He said he was going to live forever.
Well, go on, Sullivan. What happened after that?
He made me help him do things around the laboratory. Wire and stuff like that. Seems he got tired pretty easy, and his hands was too heavy to do work that was delicate-like. Maybe that's why he needed someone else around. Finally, I couldn't keep my eyes open anymore, and I fell asleep on a cot in the corner. I don't know if he ever slept or not. If he did, I never seen him. When I woke up, it was around noon, and he had Matson's body propped up in a chair against just a kind of a silver screen.
So you finally got up, eh, Sullivan? I was just going to wake you.
Yes, sir. I'm kind of hungry, sir.
Yes, food. Well, you're going to help me with a little experiment first, and then we can eat.
Yes, sir. What kind of experiment? You mean...
Why, yes. An experiment on our friend Matson's body. He won't mind. Just a little calcium transmutation. First, we switch on our alpha generator here. Then we make a few frequency adjustments.
What are you going to do?
You'll see. Over there, stand by that master switch on the converter. When I give the word...
Yes, sir.
We'll let it climb just a little higher. A little higher. Now!
Oh, good Lord. No.
There's a kind of glass tube pointing at Matson's body. When I threw the switch, a white light shot out of it. And I know you won't believe this. When it hit the body, it went all soft. It was like the bones had gone out of it. Just went all soft and kind of poured off the chair onto the floor. I must have fainted or something. When I come to, Vance was standing over me, smiling.
Anything the matter, Sullivan? Don't you feel well?
Yes, sir. I'm all right. I was just... That was the most awful, most terrible thing.
Sullivan, if you were a soldier and you saw that happen to the man next to you, would you feel much like fighting after that?
What? You mean you're going to do that?
I'd advise you not to ask too many questions. We'll dispose of the rest of the body later, but now let's eat.
Like I said, it was just about a week ago. I can't really tell you what happened after that because I was in a daze most of the time. We worked, him showing me what to do, wire and solder and stuff. We ate. Sometimes he let me sleep. Then this morning it happened. I woke up at about 10. He was standing looking at this thing we've been making.
Well, Sullivan, it's finished. Just a few adjustments and we were ready to go.
Yes, sir.
I'm profoundly grateful to you for your help. I will show you how grateful in a very concrete fashion.
You mean you're going to let me go? You're going to let me go?
Go? Really, Sullivan? That's a little foolish, isn't it?
Well, I don't know. I just thought... Yeah, I guess it is. Well...
Where are you going?
Inside to fix some breakfast.
No, Sullivan, no food for you. Not today.
No food?
No, because tonight you're going to enjoy a tremendous experience. One I experienced myself several months ago. And the process is much simpler when the stomach is empty.
Process? You mean you're going to make me like you? Heavy?
Yes, Sullivan. I told you I was grateful to you and...
Oh, no, Doc. No, please, will you? For heaven's sake...
You're being rather childish. I'm not going to bother detailing what it will mean to you physiologically, the immunities it will give you. I will merely tell you that we'll do it tonight.
Getting changed to become like he was. Heavy as lead. Well, it did something to me. It was like I'd been doped, hypnotized. All that time afraid to do anything to make him mad. Now I was even more scared to stay. I made out like everything was fine, and I waited. I waited and watched. Then about an hour ago, I got my chance. He went into the house to get something. He didn't lock the door. I was out like a shot, grabbed his car and started down the driveway. As I went past the house, I heard a window open.
Sullivan, come back! Come back! You'll regret this! You'll regret it!
That's the story. I was so jittery I went into a ditch just outside of town and had to run the rest of the way. I don't care whether you believe me or not, whether you think I'm nuts, what you do to me. I just want one thing. Get me away from here. Get me far away fast. Because he's going to be coming after me, I know it.
Well, I'm not saying what I think. Not yet. What about you, Dr. Carden?
I wouldn't like to say either. Knowing Vance, I believe he's capable of everything Sullivan told us. And theoretically, everything he described is possible.
I told you, I don't care whether you believe me or not. Just get me away from here.
I can't for an hour or so. Have to call Bridge and have them send down some men. Then we can really go into this. In the meantime, I'll put you in one of the detention cells. You'll be okay there.
Are they strong? Really strong?
Plenty strong enough to keep you in and anyone else out. Come on.
Sergeant! Hey, Sarge! Dr. Carden! Ain't it about time? Ain't it? Hey, can't you hear me? Sergeant! Dr. Carden!
Oh, gee, Sarge. I was starting to get a little worried. You.
Yes, Sullivan. You didn't really think you were going to get away, did you?
Oh. What are you going to do? You can't do anything. The cell door is locked.
And is it? Let's see.
There, you see. You can't break it down. You can't. It's steel.
Yes, Sullivan. But steel can be smashed if it has to be.
No.
I told you you'd regret running away, didn't I?
No. I'll come back. I'll do anything you want.
I'm afraid it's too late, Sullivan.
No.
Too late for anything but this.
Dr. Carden. Did you hear it, too?
I'm not sure. But it did sound like...
This way, quick. Good Lord. Look at that cell door. Oh, and Sullivan. His skull.
Smashed like an eggshell. Well, Sergeant?
I guess I must be nuts, too. Look, Doc. He must have just left here. If we wait for the men from Bridgeton, give him time enough to get back to his place or those blasted ray things of his, there's no telling what he'll do, how many lives he'll cost. But if we leave right now, the two of us, maybe we can get there before him, cut him off. What do you say? You game?
I'm game, Sergeant. Let's go.
That must be it. Right ahead.
The laboratory's probably running back. Well, Sergeant, the lights are on.
Yeah. Maybe he left them on when he came into town and got Sullivan. Or maybe...
No, listen. He's back. We're too late.
What in heaven's name is that?
An electrostatic generator or a cyclotron. He's... Oh, good Lord. Up the mountain there. Look.
Great Scott. Looks like a hole or something. But it's moving.
A neutron beam. Disintegrating. Eating its way into the mountain. He must have found some way of harnessing...
Dr. Garden, swinging his way. Must have seen us. Come on, run.
No good, Sergeant. Seems to have a range of almost half a mile.
But eating through solid rock that way. If it hits us...
You came to see just what Vance was doing, eh, Carden? Well, take a good look. The best one you'll ever take at anything. For you shall be the first to...
And did you think that you were going to get away with it, Vance?
Who's that?
Take a look at the Geiger.
Gentlemen, it's too much. Cut that down.
And what'll happen when you release the load?
But I've got to cut it down. Thank you, Lieutenant Sullivan.
Yeah, that's because I feared that you'd join me. You can't do it alone. Too heavy. Too slow.
It's time to be higher. Good Lord, the generator. I've got to cut that down, too.
Dr. Carden. Dr. Carden, where are you?
Over here, Sergeant.
Are you all right?
A little shaken up, but yes, I'm all right.
Oh, the laboratory. The whole house. Look.
Yes.
What happened?
Something got out of control. Too much centrifugal force, or the load released too suddenly, and the whole thing exploded. Now there are things that we'll never know. Except something we knew already. That science can either be man's servant or his master and his doom.
And as I stand there, gazing at the smoking ruins that were once Vance's laboratory, through the blessed silence comes the distant clang of the clock in the town's church steeple, for the second time, striking 12 for
Murder at midnight.
Remember to be with us again when death hovers like a dark cloud and the clocks strike 12 for
Murder at midnight.
The part of Shill Sullivan was played by Frank Reddick. With music by Charles Paul, Murder at Midnight was directed by Anton M. Leader.